beautiful hair, broken bones and a bloodstained flag, open road and nomadic plans. Nights turn into days, wanna buy under darkened skies, we await, bound to each other. But our spirits never die. Fighting as we push through the darkest times, I'll be there by your side. We arise, everything's breaking, our souls will awaken, our spirits never die. At the end of the line, the trust in our hearts beating louder. Under darkened skies, we await, bound to each other. But our spirits never die. Fighting as we push through the darkest times, I'll be there by your side. We arise, everything's breaking, our souls will awaken, our spirits never
Yeah, they done told me to be myself. So when I went and found myself, the ones who told me back then, be true to who I am, ain't think we was really gonna win. Now they watching us from the sidelines while we trying to victories like we in high tides. I'm getting my prize, only thing my eyes is locked in on. Half a milli, mine. I want it right now, don't waste my time. Family in a penthouse with a view sky high. Blood, sweat, and tears bring more to my eyes. Cause the whole gang winning, I done gave my life. Odds low, but we did it, ain't we? And we always moved in, never on the same thing. Now our lives are highlight reel. We like the thrill, this life's ideal. The hype is real.
We know it, it's just the way we live. We own it, cause that we love the thrill. We know it, it's just the way we live. We're grown up kids. running out of words you wanna say. I've been looking for you, looking for you, looking for you. Lay me down, leave me lost and found. Lay me down, loudly without a sound, and I will rise, rise, and I will fly, fly, rise,
Welcome back. We've got ourselves another match over here in the Intel Extreme Masters Winter qualifiers for European region. I'm Tita. I'm joined by none other than Michael Yumi Cassidy. Michael, it might have taken a while for us to get here, but that's because there were 48 rounds played. And that was the first map. After that, Spirit and K23, that was neck and neck as can be. And surprisingly enough, K23 were able to upset them out with their new lineup and come through over here and just test themselves up against now MOUZ going in for the qualification for the IEM Winter. Michael, how are you feeling about this one?
Yeah, I mean, pretty good. I mean, the fact that K23 have recently changed a few elements of this roster, you know, they bring in Exit Power, they bring in X5 as well. That's a really interesting prospect because those are players that were actually very impressive when it came into some of these IEM the IEM full stages. You know, Indy Ray was a big kind of upset team that never really made it that far, but I think it got some attention from some people at the very least. And so it's always interesting to sort of bear witness to what could be, you know, new steps for this roster. And beating Team Spirit is a big one. You know, the fact that I think in all of their previous encounters, they had actually lost best of threes to that squad. So finally they're able to overcome Spirit, but now they face a whole different beast. You know, it's not the CIS head-to-head, now it's MOUZ Sports.
It's been very interesting to see the dynamic between them as well, especially where we've seen, you know, MOUZ Sports has been sort of flexing around their map pool a bit already today, while K23, you'd imagine with a newer lineup and with Adren and Mo being replaced, two of their more veteran players, two of their bigger... I'd imagine people with a bigger say in how the team is run. Mm-hmm. It won't be easy to just walk into a map pool blind like that, but I'll give them a bit of shine for this because they obviously did very well on Inferno and they spanked Spirit on Mirage. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes. The fact that they also have played a fair bit of Ancient here and there in the past as well might lead MOUZ Sports to be very careful on how the veto goes, but it's going to be a confusing affair regardless.
Yeah, it's just a super. I think it's just a new look K23 that I'm really excited for. You know, the idea that a couple roster moves is all it takes to suddenly find a bit more consistency is always the sort of it's the Cinderella story that you want to see. And K23 have seemed like they were always on the precipice of success, but never good enough to beat some of these stronger teams. And we head into our first map in the series. It's Inferno within MOUZ and K23. And MOUZ, they'll start CT side and already finding some opening fights. Rob's taking a lot of duels down mid.
Now, of course, a quick heads up to the viewers. We are aware that there's no radar. Don't worry about it. We're giving you guys a bit of a lucid dream experience where you're not quite sure what's going on, but you're sort of conscious inside it, you know, all that good stuff. But Rob's right now waiting for the push out from Archers to come through. He knows he's got the crossfire with Dexter, but Dexter's gone, and with him goes down 3 pairs of grenades as well. He'd gone for full utility, and now they've lost it all. So the CT side will look to reconverge over here on B, but not before Frozen's gone. Acor just can't provide that support.
Yeah, really good break into this B-bomb site. And Norbert on the lurk. Rob's trying to get something going, potentially open up another bit of reinforcements here for Acor, but he's actually sneaking through a smoke himself. Thought about it at the very least. They're down too many members, and that threat of the flank is just constantly weighing on the mind here of Acor. Doesn't seem like they're really going for it here on MOUZ.
Oh, Acor missing out a couple of those shots. Look like easy ones as well, but This is where we have to wait to see what A-core we see show up. The Dust 2 A-core we saw earlier on was going aggressive, trying to get some peaks. Now, not necessarily always the one putting up the numbers, but decent enough. Right now, it needs to be that A-core over here as well. With the kind of individual performances K23 were having, you need A-core to be activated.
I mean, great stuff from K23. Not only just capitalizing on that early bit of aggression, but as soon as Rops got that opening kill, they just find this timing where they can quickly collapse on the arches. You know, they wrap that B bomb site very quickly as well. And hey, while you might catch a glimpse of us, now you can fully set your eyes on that radar as well. You know, we were flying a little bit blind. Feels like you don't see the big picture without that top-down view.
Michael, lucid dreaming's got to end eventually. You know, you got to wake up. Everyone dying is a great way to wake up. And MOUZ Sports, of course, didn't quite have that. So with Beamer staying alive, it means a bit of extra money to the K23 side as well. So a bit of extra utility will be coming in there. Saw some conversations around that, as Fame will end any conversations with Rops in mid. General consensus was probably best to die. For now, Venus is going to have to be the main point of contest. There's A-core nearby, a flashbang in his hands to try and prevent the peek through from the smoke. And now with this flashbang over, it'll be Dexter to be peeking outwards, made a bit of noise, and Fame's already crept through. It's Beamers on the bomb side, bombs being dropped, AK recovered, and death promised. Promises are fulfilled. And with this, Michael, K23, really good round from them. Honestly, the anti-eco turns out brilliantly.
Yeah, the only thing that could have gone wrong was Bemis maybe pulling off a play at the back of the bomb site, but even then, there were so many players there for K23 just to make sure that that didn't happen. You could see, even from Bemis's point of view, focused on one fight, shot in the side of the head. And so it's only armor and some utility. Deeg is nice, but ain't what she used to be. Overall, liking the pace that K23 are bringing to these rounds. I think in general, you know, we had a bit of a clash of styles versus the Team Spirit. You know, Team Spirit, very traditional, slow, CIS.
Until they're crazy, yes.
Yeah, they have their moments.
Yeah.
I think they reached like a breaking point where it's like, you can't hold us back any longer, Captain.
Yep.
And it all just overflows. Sometimes it's successful, sometimes not.
It really is like a 1,000-year-old floodgate. It could be a wonder of the world, but eventually it's going to break apart and you have to rebuild it.
But I really just want to keep track on the development of Exit Power.
Yes.
He's somebody that quite often put himself in some really bad spots with the AWP. You know, his aggressiveness is honestly always a welcome sight, but considering they would basically like shovel money towards him in like the previous roster, of course, Fours, the one that I think most people will know him for. It's going to be interesting to see whether that's a mantra that's maintained here for K23, because I don't think they're going to make the same compromises. So going to be more resultant in actually finding successes and actually puts a bit more pressure on him to perform more consistently.
Also, just a small update for the viewers. We do have the video over on HL TV as well. So it's Inferno being picked up by K23. No surprises about that one as they're peeking through. No surprises found on the server either. Not so far, at least. Dexter and Rops are maybe just going to be looking for... God, I mean, Rops is looking for gold, basically. I don't think it's treasure maps taking him anywhere, but Michael, it's the update on the veto. Yep. Inferno picked up by K23. Nuke was picked by MOUZ, which is not surprising after Spirit thrashed K23 on it as well. Not to mention just tactical map overall with a new lineup.
It's also a freaking first pick for MOUZ, so...
Yes, there's that as well. Can't forget. And Ancient is the design.
It's all well and good. Of course, this is the map that K23 also put a lot of reps on earlier on. Yeah. There was a ridiculous amount of overtimes in the Spirit matchup. So any sort of creases that may have emerged, I reckon they've ironed them out or they've thrown the shirt completely.
And then you find out they were playing shirtless all the time, and really, that's what the game's all about these days.
Just buy a complete, like, the same shirt again. Do a VOO.
I was about to point that. A-core, though. He's found XC Power, who's trying to get aggressive, like you mentioned before, Michael. That can be a tendency of his, but over here, Aiko has punished him. X5, however, has actually missed out on the jump and the silent peek forward into the apartment. Because of that, they're forced back, and a lot of damage down on Banana will not be doing them any favors either.
Yeah, they're real softened up, and while Frozen ain't too rigid himself, a little floppy, I mean, he's going to be happy with that exchange. The fact that he's gone basically 2 for 1 in that damage exchange. So an exchange of weapons, that's always quite nice to see. I was never sure. I think Fame, at one point or another, had some impressive, at least, clips or moments with the AWP, but I wasn't really sure if he was ever truly an AWPer. Because, I mean, Neil and Fame aren't exactly too far apart in terms of that HP. So, interesting that it's priority him. They're really doing 2 prongs of assault here on K23, doubling up in pairs. Neelan finds one through a smoke, and that's going to draw a rotate out from MOUZ. They break down the setup over at A as well, but 30 seconds left. They're trying to anchor into these positions and make sure things don't fall out of favor. Only one set of footsteps being heard, and Robs hasn't moved an inch. The elevated angle, bomb exposed and dropped.
Oh, Norbert's gone as well. In the meanwhile, K23, the second we get to the gun rounds, they've just been really knocked down a peg. But still early days, let's not forget about that. Fame, naturally, Michael, we were having this discussion before where you mentioned that he was an AWPer before, and I said, maybe, yeah, you're right, I think he was. Might have been secondary, but
yeah,
even
I think
so, I'm
maybe
looking...
maybe just like a hybrid.
Yeah, of course, a lot of CIS players are like that. I'm looking forward to seeing their CT side as well, and I think for K23, a lot of this should come down to, hey, how many rounds can we get out on the T side? Can we get 7 rounds? We're probably good with that. And then firepower-wise, MOUZ Sports, they didn't have Rops performing the same way. Frozen and Bemis both had good moments, but they didn't look like this unstoppable three-man star power that they would have had with Rops. So and there's definitely potential for K23 to just stop them with bullets.
Yeah, on Dust 2, I think we saw more of that independent star power. Oh, A-Core. That's a dangerous ball to try and chase down. A lot of damage being done, but he somehow gets away and actually finds a tag on the retreat.
Well, K23 are playing very passively after having contested for banana control. If MOUZ Sports go for the retake utility, this will give them all the information they need to be able to cheat Aiko's rotation back. But going for that retake utility in itself is such a risky maneuver because you'll have to use it from 2 players, Aiko and Frozen, both having a smoke and a Molotov, which is generally what's needed. So maybe even a dry peek to come through. Frozen with the molly, but it might be too late. K23 are putting down pressure in mid. Good grenade, though.
Again, Rob's in the same position. Flash will be dodged. If they go this direction, I mean, they're jumping out of the apartment, so Bemis has to try and get a handle back on things. They're already in the pit, and Bemis trying to contain them. They cannot really properly break this one down. Rob's caught quick switching, and while there will be a trade here for MOUZ, they have this advantage to hold on to, but Norbert quickly detracts from that. The smoke's down. They can get the bomb planted.
And it's planted for XC Power, who's still on the AWP. Not much utility amongst the 2 of them, but a refresh on the smoke is big enough as it is. Dexter can start to move through. He's caught out Norbert, and now it's only XC Power. The duel away, but he's confused and very much unamused. Taken down, Dexter shuts him apart. 3 kills for him, every single one of them just positioning and trades coming through. Fantastic stuff, and sure, Rob's caught out of the quick switch, but the fact that Bemis is able to find that last player on the apartments makes it so much more difficult for the players to cross out from mini pit to pit unscathed.
Yeah, you can see that was that hesitation, right? I think they wanted to make sure that that motor smoke wasn't going to get traversed, and they really held for that. But the fact that Bemis is just anchoring his spot to make sure that Rops doesn't get flanked out effectively does enough to create that opportunity later in the round for Dexter to come in and sweep up the pieces. So great stuff from MOUZ. I think they've been pretty confident in their CT setups and the way that they're adapting so far. Some of these later round moments that K23 are trying to apply that pressure. We haven't seen MOUZ twitch.
Ooh, there goes Robs over there.
Interesting idea, going for a flash double swing from either side. And, I mean, K23, like you said, they've been slowing things down in terms of how they've been defaulting these past few rounds. you know, Pistol and the round to follow were pretty speedy.
Oh. Heavy stack to A was the intention, but now comes the call. MOUZ are not rotating back just yet. Some damage traded, exchanged between the two AWPs, but Norbert's actually lurking here. He could really throw a spanner in the works. Even just forcing our rotations would be big, and you can see MOUZ are playing with their finger on the trigger. They are so worked up, and Frozen moving past the flashbang will force him back as he was trying to get a little bit of a cheekier angle next to the smoke. A flash will keep K23 away as well. Norbert still waiting to try and get a quick kill. But the rotations have been forced out successfully. K23 have completely outmaneuvered MOUZ.
They weren't twitching before, but now they fully bit down on that fake, and Moto's, the smoke is going to be walked straight through. Bemis doesn't spot them, but catches them on the jump up. Oh dear, they're not really in great positions to trade this one out from the apartments. Bemis gets 2, and that's about as much as you could ask for. They cannot get back into this site just yet, but with the smoke fading, the bomb getting planted, there's a
8
chance.
seconds. They've got the chance to be able to start pushing through. Great flashbang forces the AWP off, and now Acor can prevent them from actually making their way down to pit. The problem is XC Power's elevated position and their inability to push through. They don't have another flashbang, and now XC Power catches out the first, repositions again, and Acor, I mean, he's able to get the response, but a player close by, it's X5 to finish him off. Frozen's all alone, a 1-on-2, a great crossfire established, but he's got the first, flicks for the second, but it's a bit too slow and doesn't go far enough. K23, great maneuvering throughout the round, but I've got to say, with Bemis finding those 2 kills, it got very scary.
Yeah, I think you could definitely still see the markings of a newer team here from K23. Of course, they bring in 2 new players, so getting everyone up to speed and making sure that everyone's confident in the positions that they're pushing for is going to be a big deal and something that needs to be worked on. And that those moments of hesitation in the mid round would eventually, I think, get worked out. But those moments of hesitation actually kind of allowed Bemis to get those 2 kills. Still a K23 round. Great trading in the end of things, and K23's money did put them in a spot where, I mean, this SMG from Nealon is actually kind of a choice made, but not getting too much done with it and taking a lot of damage.
Oh, there goes X5 as well. In the meanwhile, great damage traded on the CTs, but it doesn't matter much when your player's going down. Frozen dodging out the first flash. His second one's going to catch him full white. Dexter sees a player popping through the Mac 10, put down, and Frozen puts down the bomb as well. XC Power all alone. Was hoping to help out of the post spawn with the op, but whew, that's just not happening.
This guy's got 5 assists. He's 3 and 5 with 112 ADR. I feel like that's a bit of a rarity. Law Deeps, no kills. And yeah, this is a safe call here from K23. The round's broken down. Great little maneuver there from Frozen to get ahead of the smoke because they just put a fresh one down front side B. And so there's a little bit more wiggle room in terms of how you can get out from that position, accompanied with the flash. It's basic. It's nothing crazy fancy, but just capitalizing on this opportunity because K23 wanted to accelerate.
Oh,
This might be a good time to get your opinions. What are your thoughts? You know, new logo here for MOUZ. We're losing a change of history. I think they even had like a breakdown about the ethos about the redesign and how they feel about it.
well, Michael, I saw the video, and the video, to anyone who hasn't seen it, it's on their Twitter. You can go check it out. It shows a lot of like merch with a logo on it, this and that. I was like, oh my God, look at all of this cool merch I'm never going to buy because I missed the old one.
See, I think it looks nice on like a bunch of other things, but it does just kind of look like an upside down rocket ship when it's just by itself.
The other thing is also, look, if you look at the entire rebranding and not just the logo, I hate everything else about the rebrand much more than I dislike the logo because of all the like super generic assets that they've got now. It's all like, oh my God, streetwear, this and that. I get that that's sort of the vibe these days, but come on, man. Your legacy.
Yeah, we're missing out on a bit of history.
Rob So, he's put XC Power down to history as well. A full stop in the Annals of time. Akov found out, though, those Tech 9s can put a full stop to him as well. Bemis now all alone. Again, the defender of A, but can't defend for much long. Yes, he can. I'm lying to you. He's got 3. Makes it 4. Bemis! What in the world was that? I thought you're not supposed to have enough bullets to do shit like that, Michael. What?
Yeah, he kept fragging him out. And we've had this discussion before, I know, about the A1S, of course, with it becoming the dominant CT rifle. You know, those extra few milliseconds where you're trying to figure out which side you're getting shot from can be the difference. And you can see even in that fight in mid, you know, they're a little slow to react. They were so concerned about pacing themselves in that nobody could really get into great positions to trade. Jumping out of apartments, I mean, you leave yourself exposed because you're in the air.
Oh, Rups is just
Also
so
the taste of it.
aggressive. Oh my goodness. He's tried this a couple of times. This time it'll be more successful than the others. Also much more risky against the Egos. Let's not make a mistake about it. Not necessarily a recommended course of action. A chicken. The chicken lasted longer.
Chicken likes powerful people. And Beam has been mad powerful over towards shorts.
He's really been incredible. Like, honestly, if this is the form Bemis is in going into the major, I want me some of that.
Yeah, it's been looking real good. Him and Frozen. I know that it's like a little bit up and down, but I think that's more. I think that was more a Vertigo issue than.
Yeah,
we saw them earlier on.
Mechanically looking very good. That's for sure.
Back into rifles, and Exit Power don't have the AWP. Not a bad rifler, not by any means, but weapon that you'd like to prioritize when you're given the option to. Economics of the round don't allow for it, but Fame has picked off A-Core. They have gone for these fights down middle so many times. Robs, does he get cleared? Oh no, they're gonna leave this one to slip on by. Never mind. Quick 180s back and forth there from Fame. A little Spidey sense tickling in, and Bemis cannot perform the same miracles. This A-bomb site completely collapsed upon, and K23 might just get away with a flawless round here.
Robs has not had a good game so far. And I don't blame him for that particular one. That's also just really well played from K23 pathing-wise. What they do over there is that they sort of fake it out as well with sound cues as if they're not checking it because the player moves further ahead as well. And there's another player close by, so Robs doesn't really want to take the swing yet because he's thinking, okay, trigger discipline, etc., etc. But when they then wide swing into him and take him down, that's a lot of potential kills taken out. Even just a 1-for-1 would have been nice to have. Bemis had to commit significantly harder to the angle because Robs isn't able to get that first kill as well. But yeah, probably just an off day. It happens to the best of us, and he is definitely amongst the best of us, but it makes it slightly harder for MOUZ Sports to claw across the finish line. A lot of emphasis on the A-bomb side so far, though, from K23.
And I mean, if they're going to keep giving them these fights down middle, you know, whether they're going for flash peeks or double swings, then all it takes is players like Fame to find that entry for things to kind of break down. I think these more passive setups here for MOUZ have been already a little bit more successful. I like that they're pushing in a little bit more control over towards the B-bomb side, though. K23, they've been able to dodge out a lot of the early utility. It's just about them maintaining control for MOUZ. But again, they don't really hold on to it for that much longer. They fall back to the site, and they're sitting comfortable once again. That little plant pot boost here for Robs above the boiler.
I mean, he's gone for this so many times at this point. Bemis as well now in the back lines, forced off the angle. Flashbangs won't be affecting Robs, but he's heard them coming all the way down. And as he's dropped, Neelan's got him off again. X5, he's got himself a double. Neelan's got the better of Robs so many times over at this point in similar angles, but Dexter, that's a whiff smoke if I've ever seen one. It'll be up to him and Frozen. Frozen also peeking through. There's an op on the other side. XC Power wielding that, so Frozen can take that down. That'll be big. Dexter, meanwhile, catches the first, and he's dropped the bomb. Not sure if he saw that yet, but Norbert will be looking for the quick deal from Graveyard. Reveals his position, but no one to see. And as he's trailing backwards to recover, he'll have to force itself onto the plant. Resmoke out will give them some time, but a gap inside it, and XC Power's shot isn't forced out yet.
Dexter's in a real bad position here because Exit Power knows exactly where he is, hasn't moved that much further out of the corner, and Exit Power just still waiting for that smoke to fade because he knows that's when Dexter's going to make his move.
Oh, this is such a good repositioning. Coming out from XT Power, he knows he can see the elbow of Dexter from that angle as well. And Frozen now all alone. Once again a 1-on-2, but this time much more isolated on the last duel. Seems to have an idea of where Norbert is, but he's really just checking it all. Doesn't have much time to work with either. Fakes out the defuse. Flashbang forward as well. Will not have time, and even if he gets the kill, it'll be right down to the wire. MOUZ Sports, Frozen's done it right at the very end. He'll almost get the defuse, but he just can't finish it off. A split second, and K23 find their 6th.
I think it's quite literally the difference between being tagged up on that gunfight and not. The fact that he went for so wide away from that bomb. Great hesitation there from K23 in the clutch, just keeping Frozen busy for long enough. And they will just narrowly, extremely narrowly, whisk that one away. Again, liking what we're seeing from these MOUZ players on the retake. It feels like they're able to constantly claw back those numbers. But they've fallen victim to too many A-side pushes. And if they're getting entry'd over at B as well, you've suddenly got yourself this double threat where K23 can continue to sort of push and pull the rotations. Like, they can't go for that stack on short anymore. I'd almost advise against it, considering you've seen K23, how quickly they've adapted to that. They're constantly jumping into the pit, and it's just uncontested.
It's also just the amount of times Rops has been caught off while trying to move off of the flower pot boost as well. Flame's going to find Dexter over here. Shadow advantage as well, but Dexter actually gives himself a chance in the fadeaway. Continuing to run back might have been a mistake, but it's one that he will pay the price for.
Cautionary Molotov. There from Acor. Don't go B. I'm here. I promise. Meanwhile, he's actually rotating away to the A site.
You liar. You filthy liar, Acor. Damn it.
He's going to hear all this utility. He's like, they didn't buy the bluff. Which is fine. Like, they can keep their weapons into the next round if possible. X5 is still on a lurk, so could play spoiler to that plan.
It might be a little bit ill-advised for him to go for this as well. In all fairness, the T-side economy is good enough, but at the same time, solo lurking hunting will always bear the risk of losing out early into just giving up another rifle. Now, they might not realize Rops doesn't have that third rifle, so it would be limited returns in that scenario.
Don't know who he is. All those numbers, all those letters. That's a serial number. For what kind of Terminator this guy is. He doesn't let up. Saving, not a concept I'm familiar with. Rops does try to instill that, but there's the kneeling trade through the wall. Thank you very much. Baited him right into my crosshairs.
All according to Keikaku.
So I heard that voice line, and I still don't know what that is.
It literally
what does that mean?
All according to plan.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I've been educated.
It's like a Death Note thing.
Huh.
Yeah. Like, it was, I think the actual line was like just according to Keikaku, because like back in the day, this was, I don't know if it was Death Note though, but this was like a really old anime back in the day when fan subs were a thing. Like, fans would sub the animes rather than having like an official sub version the same way. Or at least the release date would be different.
Okay.
For the official sub version. So someone made it like, just according to Keikaku.
Very, very interesting. Thank you for the lore.
Yeah.
I thought I was just going to get the explanation and that was it, but...
No, Michael, I can bring that historical context in.
The backstory as well.
Yeah. If there's one thing I am, it is a storyteller. Not an analyst. Hey, I said if there's one thing, I'm pretty sure I could be an analyst, but that's not the one thing I could be.
Well, story of this game has been a little bit of back and forth. K23, some early aggression, they reeled it back in. And they got a good
Rob's
read on
died.
the MOUZ CT side.
Rob's died.
Yeah,
Rob's died.
that's kind of whatever.
Yeah. It's one of those things where you're trying to also just get information in this round, so you don't really hate it too much. You didn't have a rifle anyway, but in a lot of these situations, you just start to wonder, would it be better if you just stick your ground and just chill?
I think the problem becomes that, I think I touched upon this in the previous series with MOUZ, is that Frozen and BMAS are both very, very good anchor players. And you almost want to set them up with as much information as possible. And who do you do that with aside from maybe like Dexter and Robs? So maybe feels like he needs to go for some of those plays to create those opportunities. This won't be a round for them. Acor has found 2 kills in the round, but they are quickly collapsing on Dexter, and he didn't even realize we were getting shot in the back until the tags started coming through. Like, wait, why is my aim shooting up in the sky? No armor, aim punch, K23, punch in 8.
Of course, versus Spirit as well, they did have a 9-6 half before being flipped around upon. I'll give Spirit the credit of this, though. I do believe that right now, especially Spirit is a better team than Rasmus overall, at least on paper. I will say, with Frozen and Bemus's performances, admittedly Frozen not so much in this map because he's all the way on the other side. Power gets the better of Acor this time, but I do believe that with their performances, I might be willing to reevaluate that if this keeps up.
Well, let's see if round number 4 of them going for this plant pot boost and short hut is going to really yield that many results. Flash right in the face of Robs. They get diddly squat. Nothing. Nada.
That is such a good response to them, Michael. Look, has anyone told Mouse Sports it isn't a scrim? Like, you're not doing setup practice.
Well, it ain't going too well either way.
Yeah.
So I almost feel like you'd have to call it quits at some time or another. It's just they have gone for it so many times over. And like, yeah, we saw that crazy 4K there from BMAS against like Hex and upgraded pistols. But
which, in all fairness, it just generally means that the setup didn't work out too well if someone gets a crazy 4K.
Yeah, but it was also a spot where I think Robs got like that early info, kind of leading into that narrative I was trying to build earlier. But it's just, it just feels like it's this kind of sucks, because K23 either jumped their way into the pit, and they have easy control and access to maybe gun down rotations. Like, you don't feel safe rotating away from B or the arches into the A site when pit is fully compromised like that. Nor can they really stop them from getting out of those apartments. Or you just get bombarded by utility and you get kind of flushed out of position, which K23 have shown the ability to do both. I've actually really enjoyed seeing them kind of recognize what MOUZ are offering up in these rounds so consistently, and just being able to punish it. Dire Straits. 3 SMGs, 2 FAMAS, FAMI, FAMIS.
Famasi.
That's definitely not one of them.
For mice,
And K23 looking to get one better than their previous showing. I'm fine with FAMUS.
I really like Famous, to be honest, but I also really like Fame, and he might be about to give us something to talk about. Dexter, MP9's what nets them the first, but it doesn't belong to him. It's Frozen's, and as he's being mollied up, smoke on the ground to prevent them. He's gone back into the molly time and time again. Dexter's really having a fun time cooking himself up. That nade could have completely demolished him, but for now it's Bao who's had a nade returned upon him as well. A lot of HP taken away, but Norbert's the one who's crept through, taking full arch side control. They've left a player back in B. Try and force them to contest, but Nealon's demise might have given it away. Drops his inside boiler room. He'll be able to get nothing, though. It's Bemus who's set up for instead.
And that's really changed the tone of this round. Norbert trying to clutch things back, and he's got the first, but Acor's there to meet and greet him as he picks up that bomb. 9-6 of the half. K23 a pretty good T side, but let's see if MOUZ can bring things back on theirs.
And we go back into things to see exactly what MOUZ Sports have to bring us in the second half. I'm Tita. I'm joined by Michael Yumi Cassidy.
Hello.
And K23 have really impressed us.
Yeah,
Michael's reading.
They've shown a good amount of ability on the T side of things, but MOUZ just being able to salvage things is great. Oh my goodness, X5 though, he's trying to get himself away from the action. Exapower's already struck with the first and moving in towards this A bomb site. It's just so many kills coming in for the CT side. K23 uncontested, no trades here for MOUZ, and they're getting completely crunched upon. Everyone is here for K23, and they're just completely contained in the site, but Frozen is dancing with them, trying to isolate these fights, but there's too many players constantly barraging him with fire. K23 get their pistol.
Norbert just had the most comfortable duel imaginable with the player underneath balcony. He's like, okay, you know what? I'm being dumb about this. I'm going to chill out with my USP, reset my recoil, and then I'll kill you. You can keep firing at me. That's fine. You do you. Yeah, Michael, K23 do be looking kind of good, though.
Yeah.
By kind, I mean they're destroying MOUZ Sports so far. And CT side was where they did have some struggles versus Spirit, but this doesn't look like a team that will be struggling. And let's not forget, they have, of course, recently removed who I believe was their IGL in Adren, as well as another veteran player in MOUZ.
Yeah, it felt like, you know, their prospect was, you know, getting to the major.
Okay, XC Power. Okay. I'm glad he goes down. Aiko just hears that. Aiko just hears that. Oh, this filthy PP
This guy's running around with a pea shooter?
Fame will be able to find Robson in the meanwhile. That's what happens when you've got a real gun. Aiko.
In fact, he just wanted it for himself.
Yeah, that's what I meant. He hears the PP one and like, oh, god damn it, man. Now I've got to take it from you. This could have been peaceful, but no. Instead, it's going to be peaceful. Oh, Frozen. Yes, please. Nealon's down. And suddenly, the bomb could be planted as well. This is a full eco potential to be found. Akor's picked up the Farmers in the meanwhile. Flashbang available for Dexter as he tosses it through. Norbert's fully blinded out. Backing off into the sandbags. It's Akor to find one more. Makes it two. And Akor has managed to do it all. Starting off with a Glock. And with the Farmers recovered, it really is just all about him. Meanwhile, Dexter says, can I shoot some peas as well?
Oh my goodness, not like this. They didn't buy up. They had Glocks. Like, sure, there's a Deeg floating about there, and Frozen shows what he's made of on that, but they start off by just picking them one by one. Like, what an entry there from Frozen that gave that room for Akor to actually pick up the FAMAS, because he just puts in the work. I don't know how he gets away with 2 kills there. Maybe this is the same tale. Maybe we are seeing the same grievances here on the CT side here for K23. They'll try and make a good go of it, though. They forced by themselves. Exapower's already got the tag on the scout. Wonder whether that means that AK could see other hands.
This could still be really dangerous for MOUZ Sports. Let's not forget as well, Inferno might have been a map that MOUZ Sports was much more comfortable on in the past, but in the past 3 months, they have played it exactly 3 times. They've won it a single time. That was against Evil Geniuses, which, look, man, I'm just going to go out and say, not in the best of forms we've seen them be. So now K23, this stack could actually work out wonderfully for them. MOUZ Sports don't quite have the read on it. Nealon's got 2 kills with a 5-7. Drops the bomb as well inside the smoke. So for them to actually move through will be incredibly difficult. Fame as well can swing out for the crossfire. X5 with the 5-7 is not going to find anything. And Fame will be doing the same. Norbert still kicking and killing. But with XC Power being the last survivor, only a scout for himself. Admittedly, that doesn't help. You know?
Bomb has been planted.
Maybe that's
Well, the scout or the fact that they smoke off that bomb, because both are a little bit concerning.
Well, I mean, maybe the smoke is just good for them, you know? They can hide away. Oh my god, XC Power.
Sneaky man.
No. He's crept all the way through. He will be found, Dexter.
What?
Even tagged up. Down to a single point of HP, Michael. 1. Don't even know how that happened.
And he had to really bail them out as well. Really tough position to find themselves in, you know, getting these trades and with that bomb exposed, you know, not getting picked apart by what could have been a proper crossfire established there from K23. They just kind of stick true to the boost. Don't try and collapse into the site, just worried about how those fights might go. And it slips between their fingertips. It looked like they could have been a proper chance for K23 to swing that back into their own favor after they had their own pistol overturned, but not to be. Nice little stack over towards triple. 5 men there. SMGs aren't too far away from the action, so if they send this in as a probe, I think Frozen will call the cancel and say, run the other way, boys.
No, double made it, guys. No, not that. The other thing. So disappointed.
If only they knew.
If only. One of those moments where you think of what could have been. Frozen, though, is thinking of what can be. Go back, guys. I'm telling you, go back. Akor's thinking, don't worry, guys. I've got an SMG. I'm going to get an op in the next round. It's T-side, Akor. You don't op on the T-side. Oh. All right, then.
But I could. You're saying there's a chance. Good call to make here from MOUZ. You know, they get those 2 kills on the SMG, and Dexter just using the distance with the AK puts them to rest. Everyone was panicking, freaking out, trying to run to the other bomb site. Dexter just stood his ground. Don't know what the big fuss is about.
It's like when your parents come in after you told them there's a monster in your closet. Then you find out your parents were the real monsters all along.
Oh, wow. I got real dark real quick. Parents do be people.
That's true. And people do sometimes be like.
Yeah.
K23, though, in the meanwhile, they've been tagged up heavily because of the utility, but Neelan's moved all the way past, stabbed Frozen in the back, and is very confused about where to go from here.
Yeah, I don't think anybody on MOUZ would have been expecting crazy moves like that. They went for a quick boost off of the sandbags and then jumped over the half wall. Like, he completely, like, leapfrogs over Frozen, who found himself inside of a smoke, flashed up. It gets mad, crazy chaotic over towards the banana position. Exit power, AWP, does read into the relocation. Tags being done over from the arches instead, and they've been able to fall back here on the side of K23. So while they do concede brackets, they still maintain that one-man advantage.
Oh, exit power, repeating out of here. So bold that he's missed the shot, but at least he's not punished for it. Akor, meanwhile, creeps through. B-bomb site once again. A lot of attention being drawn towards it from either side. X5. Not had the best of games so far, but that's only as far as numbers go. He's performed a crucial role on the T side. Very often was the player to go down to be traded out with as well. Neelan peeks out. Molotov isn't spreading to him, at least not yet, but with the flashbang over, he wants to go for the duels. Neelan, the molly spreads, and Dexter can just bring him down once the second volley was there.
I swear he had a smoke. Did he not throw a smoke?
He threw a flashbang.
Yeah, okay.
But I might be lying.
Something in my brain was saying that he had a smoke there, and either way, it put himself in a really tough position. You know, the double Molotovs come out and fully clear it, and so there wasn't really much of a chance. X5 was low HP as well. Honestly, kind of surprised he's managed to navigate away from what happened. He was on the B-bomb site, they took the B-bomb site, and teammates died in the interim, but he has escaped. I think it's a great move there from MOUZ. You know, they make use of the fact that the archers are fully exposed, that Moto smoke, and being able to push back that AWP on the arches meant that they just had full access to go for that crunch. And while K23 might have been aware of it, weren't in great positions to properly challenge it. Tying things up, always nice. And K23 not in a great position to be able to reinvest into this one either. I'd almost like to see Exit Power go for some of these initiative peaks that we know he loves to go for. It's been kind of a hallmark of his style. So Akor go for peaks like this as well, and Exit Power could have an offering soon. Don't think he'll want to stick around for too much longer. The longer he stays, the more angles he's exposed to, and while he went for the chance, nobody on MOUZ offered it up.
Oh, X5 just brought down Frozen. Shoves him down from the boost. K23 have consistently been trying to go for a stack over towards the B bomb side, and just as consistently, they've been getting nothing from it. As promising as the pistol round was, Michael, MOUZ Sports have now continually demonstrated an inability to be phased. And yes, that's a joke about Carrigan no longer being there.
Let that one stew. People can infer the double meanings, the puns. But ain't nothing funny about what's going on here. K23 not getting away with any of their saves. Sure, they can reinvest. Cool. But MOUZ are on a run here, and this T side is looking very impressive. The same way that K23 were able to almost consistently read into what MOUZ were offering up. It took a little bit to get to that point, but I think MOUZ are just being a bit more systematic about how they're structuring the rounds. K23 were either very sort of burst or pump the brakes. MOUZ are showing a little bit of both. You know, they're establishing some presence, and K23 haven't been too confident to go for these aggro peaks. And when they have, they've very rarely gotten anything too advantageous from it. The best, I think, is when Nealon went for crazy B-hop maneuvers and KZ scales over a banana. Dexter as well has found an opening, so they're just going to pounce.
It's between Fame and XC Power, and XC Power's caught out. Fame can get one in response, but he's been spotted going back to mini pit. Repeat wasn't expected, and Dexter's got off guard. With Akor's demise over on the Archers, now it's all about Rops and what he can get done. Lots of time to work with, and the bomb's still in their possession, but Rops has to get one, even just to back off. 4 never easy to fight down over here. Jumps up, Fame. Gotta be careful, Fame. He peeks out, but he doesn't have the bullets. Has to go for the reload, and a grenade will finish him off. Back to a 2-on-2, but it's not without a lot of cost being borne by Rups. Smoke picked up after chucking one out of his own. But now comes out that rotation back to B. X5's got the AWP. That smoke that Rops has picked up is going to be crucial. But can he get it out in before? There's the push from the backside. Rops has been brought down.
Yeah, Nealon didn't wait around. As soon as that smoke was thrown, just immediately pushed through it. And so now it's Frozen. 1v2, X5 considering creeping through the smoke himself, and as the steps make its way through, Frozen, he's running out of time. As soon as that bomb is ticked, X5, I don't doubt this man will swing right out. That smoke's just gonna fade right on cue. Regardless of the prompt or not, it's great timing there from K23 and great adaptation to what's going on. MOUZ Sports almost get themselves out of a tough spot, but K23 keep control.
Problem for K23 is going to be that money, though. Now, if you lose this round, MOUZ Sports, well, they've got money for days anyway. Dexter was sitting on 16k in the previous one, if I'm not wrong. Maybe not quite there, but at least close to it right now. Akor as well over 10. This is, hey, I can actually buy for the rest of the game kind of money on the T side.
I mean, K23 weren't even really contesting a lot of these retakes in the same way that I think MOUZ were pressuring on their CT side.
Absolutely.
Often got to like 2v2s, 1v1s, and yeah, they kept K23's money in control when they were on their respective run, but MOUZ haven't been checked the same way. Exit power goes much deeper than that, would leave himself open to the AWP. I think a cautionary shot was fired off. I just barely spotted the gun barrel. That AWP be long.
Oh, Nealon. Spray down over, would have caught out a player. Frozen, though, moves out of the way right in time. Nealon will be unable to get a freebie through the smoke. But K23, in the meanwhile, they have completely squeezed themselves into the A bomb site. They're pickled up like a can of sardines. I don't know if sardines are pickled, but maybe they're just packed. But regardless, they're close together.
whole school in a tin. They're really relying on X5 to just lock out that B bomb site with a rifle as well. You know, sometimes I think we saw with the secondary ult, but they couldn't afford it this time over. Molotov in, but the smoke kept Nealon afloat. Just barely faded as that Molotov did deploy. So no kill, just a cleared position.
30 seconds.
Yeah, and they've kind of broken down that 4-man A setup as well.
Ooh, XC Power's rotating away too. He's getting into position for it, but Norbert and Fame have stopped any sort of ascent onto the bomb site itself. Dexter watching out, but a crouch from Fame means he's got the duel. Bombs dropped. All the information in the world has been given up to K23, and they have used it perfectly. Fame, 2 rounds in a row now where he is very much the star of the show.
Yeah, surprised he's able to get out of that spot. I mean, there's a Molotov at his feet. There's someone pressuring him from the apartments, and still just able to win both those duels. You could see that MOUZ were posturing up for that A execute for quite some time, and that absence of additional presence or having the lurk. You know, sometimes MOUZ almost feel like they overutilize these flanking positions, but they didn't stick true to that, and it almost works against them because K23 just don't give them that level of respect in the late round, especially when the executes come in their way. Even by the time they actually scaled into the site, you know, I said they broke down the 4-man setup. They kind of rebuilt it in time. So we'll talk about all that money built up. Nade from Nealon. Yeah, good damage. Wonder if they're going to find a similar sort of exploit here on this T side. K23, you know, A site was constantly under siege, whether it was fast or slow plays, bursting ones. Felt like they really targeted in on Rops and Bemis. No similar exploit just yet. The only chances they've had at the start of rounds has really been exit power on the AWP, but he wants those fights.
Aiko's just watching out.
My God.
Like, X5, the second he stops jiggling that Aiko, now they'll hold the point because it's the AWP of XC Power. He's unable to find the shot. Rotating back to the A bomb site might be what's on their mind with Rops being there already, but in fact, they've forced out a rotation from the CTs. They're moving back to A, despite all this utility and so little time. The T side might have played this perfectly. They're moving in. XC Power can't do much from the smoke either, and Nealon's finally choosing to strike. 8 seconds on the clock. He's been traded. Aiko, but XC Power up close. He's doing it all. They can't plant the bomb. Robs is all alone, and after time, he'll have to fight to keep his weapon up recovered. But K23 still with the round. What a few shots from XC Power.
And he's been missing some sitters this game, but just take the scope off. Exit Power just plays a huge portion into that round. You know, time's ticking away. You're saying they might have pulled off the right call there on MOUZ, but they never really dealt with the player at the back of the site. All Nealon needed to do was get that 1 kill, and it threw everything into chaos. MOUZ knew they didn't have a safe plant anymore.
Oh. And MOUZ are trying to play this incredibly slow game where at the very end of it, you're pulling the trigger and relying on the fact that K23 has been prone to sometimes rotate away, but you can't do that if you're not getting the instant duel wins. 20 seconds goes down to 10 seconds, a whole lot more quickly than 50 goes down to 40.
Yeah, and K23 have been comfortable playing defensive. You know, outside of maybe having like a solitary B player, which is not abnormal. When they sit back on the bomb site, if MOUZ come your way, you're happy. It's exactly what's called to order.
XC Power was pretty happy too, Michael. Might be made even more so.
Hasn't been too reliable in positions like this so far.
Listen, Michael. A man can dream. XC Power right now is dreaming of getting himself a nice steak dinner. Right after he carries this game, Fame's gone Norbert to train. Good trade indeed, but the rotations are being caught out by Frozen. He can't find the kills. He was relying on that. About 28 seconds, K23 have still yet to stack onto the bomb site. This time it could work out for them, but the smoke is so off. He's got so much damage in. He's basically won them the round already, unless Dexter and Bemis can have the round of a lifetime. XE Power found out Dexter on the fountain. Norbert's all alone now. And there goes Dexter. Elevated positions on top of the smoke, giving him the advantage that really he desperately needed.
Man propped himself on top of the fountain like a bidet and took 2 kills around the side of the smoke. I mean, it worked so well to give X5 those 2 kills and find that much damage, but then it works against them when they're actually moving into that retake because of the unpredictable sort of verticality that Dexter took when it came to being so low. I mean, it's a great read there from Dexter in another position where he's found himself in a rough spot. You know, call back to that round where I think he got a 4K against the force buy of K23. Now another position where MOUZ almost looked like it was a guaranteed loss. I think I was right there with you, but if not for Dexter's AWPing prowess, not that that's something you'll see or say very often, just navigates them through the darkness, through the mist clouds, the fog.
That's a particularly romantic way to put it. I'll help
There's a
you
lighthouse
navigate
somewhere.
through the darkness, baby.
Okay, I mean, it doesn't have to be like that.
It does now, Michael.
I'll make everything
K23 are going to be finding themselves a shot in the dark, Michael. Because they have someone to navigate them through the darkness, baby.
Yeah, I'm not liking that. It's just file that one away. Burn the filing cabinet.
In the darkness, baby.
Fire. Just burn it. There's dualies out here for X5. Kind of excited to see that. I've not been the biggest fan of the dualies, but it's kind of growing on me. I think I hated it more when it's just like you see it in pistol rounds all the time, and you get like
It's a lot
one
more
clip.
reasonable outside of the pistol rounds.
You get like one clip every like three months or 2 months of somebody getting like an ace or something with it, and everyone's like, "Yo, I think the dualies might be legit."
It's funny that you have that happen, but with the Krieg and the AUG, no one said that even when there were clips, you know? Mm-hmm. XC Power. Oh! Frozen! Demolishes him. Nealon trying to recover, but it's actually the dualies that recover the kill. 4-3 once again. Bemis sharp on the aim. X5 hoping to come through into the wild, wild west. But instead, he's just left outside of the bomb site. Playing for exit at this point is really all K23 can do. Maybe they can save the AWP if it's flung over particularly close to them, but even that doesn't seem too easy.
Yeah, I think that AWP's kind of cursed anyway. Every peek that's been taken has been met with a swift 1 bullet. It's maybe best that it's left to the wind. I think Fame can drop one over, of course, if he saves this weapon. Always nice. He's going for it. He wants something. Dexter still has his hands on that AWP, and these dualies, they made for killing. Just not them. So they've tied it up. You know, K23 went off with a pretty good start coming into this half. You know, they won the pistol, only for things to get a little bit topsy-turvy. And now we're in this neck-and-neck instance where it is just this battle of the economy and who can outmaneuver who. At the moment, MOUZ seem to have a pretty good read on how K23 are rotating. I think K23 themselves as well have shown the... not the ability, but they've been pretty proactive about like faking steps away from sites as well, almost to misread the information. They know MOUZ love to have the lurk.
Yep.
So they've been trying to mislead them a little bit, but it hasn't always worked out the way that I think they have planned.
Could also very much just be, you know, if they had better economy, I would say maybe they're going back to get grenades or something, but I just don't think they have the money to do anything like that. MOUZ though, they know that this map is very much the key to a potential 2-0 coming through. Nuke is where they are truly much more confident about, but good timing on the incendiary from X5. Frozen's been tagged. In the meanwhile, that's a failed Molotov back to the new boss. Nealon has so much space between himself and X5, they can clean them all up. There's no way to get onto this B-bomb site.
Tried to run past the smoke. Massive gap around the side, and that's when K23 just went in for that double swing. Grops is doing very well, though. Even with them being very, very aware of his positioning, he was finding kills left and right, but it's these rifles that really did most of the work. Great hold between X5 and Nealon, just making sure that nobody slipped on by, and even if somebody wasn't really shooting at the right person, other man's there to sweep up the pieces. Neither of them fall. They just keep that B bomb site under a nice lock and key.
Of course, now you have to start to wonder where exactly is MOUZ going to go with this. You know, the change of pace is nice and all, but it's still a very similar 4-1 split style that they have been maintaining throughout. But XC power going down early is big. Rops is hoping to find a bit of space as well in the meanwhile. This is so much more up-tempo than what he normally goes for. Rops is found, no, but in the meanwhile, and it's Fame to respawn. He's got the 2. The spray transfer with the M4A1. Smoke down to cover his tracks, but it's a bit low, or rather a bit slow to actually bloom.
Oh, why is it bouncing like that? It makes him basically lose the next fight. It's still a 2-on-2, so this is still doable here for K23, but could have been another element of surprise in towards that pit if they'd held on to it. But now taken by MOUZ in the post plant, boost on up for a K23 could be valuable. I think they just spotted the head of the player in pit, so I think both heads spotted.
Yeah. Bemis has got the information for now. Now Bemis just has to play CT side simulator. He was so good in this angle. Now it's all about A4 though. Smoke has come through, but he's found the 1 kill he needed. Bemis can finish it off. Moves in, can't find the op to recover, and with their money being as wonky as it is on the T side now, that might be important, though. Admittedly, K23, speaking of wonky money, Michael, their money is really looking like it's minimum wage from the 1900s.
Yeah, it's a spot where you basically have to push yourself into potential overtime territory. Unless you win this round by some unholy miracle. So it will be a save for an optimal buy into round 30. We're guaranteed all 30 anyway. It's all about whether it's OT or a map win here for MOUZ. This is the K23 pick. You know, they had many reps in the overtime, so it's not as though they're shy.
Probably very tired.
Scoreline.
Probably very tired in all fairness as well. On the K23 side, they have had
sick of Inferno.
Very long series, and yes, Inferno played a big part of it. I think Inferno might have actually been more rounds than the other two, almost combined. Not quite there, but at least 90% of the way there. Rob's once again trying to be sneaky. Last time over, he was able to find a couple of great timings, but they are not going to be too split apart. They don't want to have a rifle that can be easily recovered without trades coming through. Rob's jaw will go down, but really, it's all about making sure that they don't lose more than 3 rifles, although that's already guaranteed. Nealon can start to move forward, maybe pick up the AK, maybe get something out of it, but AK picked up and he's running away with it. No. This could actually suddenly be interesting. Nealon is pushing forward. The smoke won't block him. He's pushed past it already. It's back to a 1v1 A-core. Has to clutch it out. God damn, their money's really not going to get a break.
I didn't think his arms would be long enough to reach that, but he just narrowly like sweeps it up, and I think MOUZ knew what was coming as well. They have a buy in the back pocket, so why not give it a chance? And man, he made it close. Must-hit shot for A-core to trade that out. Lets Nealon sweep it away. MOUZ do get to 15 first, and now we see that buy that K23 were postured for. This is our last chance here on Inferno to keep this one competitive. Again, similar face from Exopower. He's been going for that deep mid peak so many times over. And MOUZ, they fell victim to it a couple of times at the start of this half. But ever since, they've been giving it the respect.
K23 don't quite have the utility, even despite the full buys, and I can't help but be slightly frustrated by the Kevlar plus helmet buys, honestly.
There is still a Mac 10 floating around. I mean, I do agree that the utility probably better served, but...
You're probably right, in all fairness. There might be something like that, but hey, this is where smokes are coming out to try and contest for control over towards archers, but of course those are a lie, Michael. They are lying smokes. 45 seconds, and Nealon, I mean, at this point, any point he lets go of that is a good timing. Nealon is going to force them to push through. They've got themselves one, make it two. X5 is so good at cleaning up these players who are pushing out through a smoke. MOUZ Sports have lost the advantage, and Robs might want to make a play towards A if they want to have anything of a chance here. But 20 seconds, and Robs doesn't have time to call his teammates over. K23 are set up so nicely for overtime. A-core, nade won't matter. Nothing to find, nothing to catch.
Man.
X5 is just a monster on this B-bomb site. 8
They can't
seconds,
do
bombs
anything.
being dropped. 15-15, it goes to OT. We'll have to wait to see what it has in store for us. We'll be back after a short break. And we're back. It's time to find out whether K23 will continue to kill MOUZ Sports through smokes, or whether MOUZ Sports will now able to find their way around it. Michael Yumi Cassidy on the microphone with me. I am T-Time, and we're going to be seeing where overtime takes us. We've already seen K23 have a bit of a long one, Michael.
Yeah, but they were doing a great job of punishing every single instance where MOUZ tried to move through those smokes. So I feel like the B bomb site might be under lock and key. Exit power, slightly different angle, but even with the drop on the player, he has missed some of these shots where characteristically those are hits. Gonna be counting their lucky stars and already a man down here on MOUZ.
XC Power. He's held this angle so many times over, hasn't really found too much success from it. Generally, MOUZ Sports have been good about forcing them off with utility, but maybe wants to test the water a bit more. Flashbang is good. A-Core is forced. Rops is playing significantly more defensive this time. Over Bemis is gone. XC Power finally wages a peek inwards.
Great timing on that as well. He was waiting for the Molotov to flush a player out. Only to be peeked from the other side. Now A-Core moving into those arches. Ult v ult. Dexter is with him.
Oh,
Just
XC
using the
Power.
flash.
That's great timing for it to be able to peek right past him. But even then, Michael, with their advantage non-existent, going back to B might be making a lot more sense. The B wrap from arches probably makes it so, hey, you can't actually be forced to push through the smoke, so maybe that actually helps out a fair bit. Frozen still waiting to see if there's anyone pushing through mid early on. Neelan has to put up a show, and as they're peeking past, A-Core jumps into him, but X5 is still untouchable. You just can't take him down on the B bomb site without using at least 2 players first, and now there'll be just enough time to get the bomb planted. They can even position it a little bit, but no utility available. Rops has to get the duel, but he doesn't win it out. Frozen's alone, a 1-on-3. All players coming from the same position. Good for the first one. It's lining up to be a difficult battle for them to win out. He's not quite able to line up the spray. Frozen can't stop it. K23 even getting the kill. Insult to injury.
Oh man, that's like heartbreaking for MOUZ. It's a great retake there from K23, but Rups just tapped. You know, he fired one bullet, he thought he killed the guy, and lo and behold, they still had that 3-man advantage. That is so ridiculous that it comes down to that. The veteran, you know, this guy that's touted so many times as the best player on MOUZ, kind of talked about his form today, hasn't looked tip-top shape. And this instance where, you know, he could have that high impact, it falls short. K23 off to a good start before Frozen, finding the first and actually looking for even more. It's again X5 that seems to continually get away with murder at B.
Okay, guys, seriously. Top going through smokes or Molotov. I know I didn't say that before, but maybe I need to. Although I have to say, I don't blame Frozen for that one bit. X5 just turns around and bulldozes them. Not a very nice feeling to experience. Grenade won't really do much damage either. Just a reminder to everyone, grenades in that position aren't actually that effective versus the new box player.
Molotovs are.
Yeah, Molotovs obviously fly further ahead, and also even if they explode at a corner, it spreads around it. Grenades actually don't do that much damage. With that throw,
I think is more effective in that spot, but.
Well,
HE, yeah, I'm with you.
not too many people with the A-side players, but Fame hasn't needed assistance beyond the occasional peek from Norbert. XC Power, of course, has been the one to be right next to him this time over. Great shot to be finding initially. Back to a 2-on-4. Rops as well located. Fame's playing the smoke perfectly, and K23... they are just running away with things. MOUZ need a big clutch, and A-Core doesn't have the time to deliver it anyway. 5 seconds on the clock, and as he's still fighting back, he'll be traded out, so at the very least, he'll get some of that loss bonus. It doesn't really matter all that much when you're in overtime.
Yeah, but K23 recognizing that time was low, so even when it was A-Core in the clutch, you know, sometimes you just say, hide, making sure you don't give himself up to these 1v1 opportunities. And when it got to about that 7-second mark, that's when they just slowly creep forward because options run out for A-Core. You know, you can't kill everybody. And even if he could, K23 weren't going to offer up every single one of their players. They can win on a technicality. It's just survival. So 2 CT rounds, and each time, I mean, we even had the ace from X5 coming into the overtime. When they go B, they suffer heavily. And this is a guy that hasn't really proven too much. You know, we saw him under Indie Irate at IEM Full, and sure, he looked impressive. You thought they were kind of just running around and headshotting people, and to an extent they were. But X5 did kind of stand out as being not only that consistent fragger, but also just had reasonable decision-making. To see him go toe-to-toe against MOUZ so quickly, after very limited knowledge on him prior, it's awesome.
It is also slightly giving me the heebie-jeebies for Nuke as well, Michael. I know MOUZ Sports is, significantly more favored in that map, but man, a couple of these players, X5 in particular, Fame right next to him.
Yeah.
Some scary stuff on these anchors.
Nealon's been good as an accompaniment as well over at B.
For sure. I mean, pretty much everyone on K23 has been doing a very good job overall. XC Power may be a bit more quiet along with Norbert, but they haven't been needed the same way in a couple of these situations. .40 and MouseSport still yet to really have a point of contention anywhere. How many times have we seen this happen? MouseSports are just caught in such a difficult place, not getting these initial kills. XC Powers misses, though, give them a much-needed advantage, although one that they might not be able to capitalize on regardless. Norbert and Fame are still around on the A-bomb site. Molotov goes in, but Fame's already got 2. Damage on a 3. Frozen can respond, and he's been the other man on MouseSports who's been performing. X5, though, somehow, doesn't matter if it's his bomb site or not, grenade goes in deep. It's a beautiful kill from downtown.
It's gotta be the Frozen man. Keeping it cool in the clutch? Surely not. I mean, X5 seems to be moving through the smoke, and Frozen finds the first face, finds the second as well! Just when you need him, Frozen steps up and brings the only round for the half for MOUZ.
A full 4K from him as well. Really had to get it done there. You thought Fame had done enough as it was with the 2 kills and damage on the 3rd. You thought with X5 taking down Beamers with a big brain, big bird nade. Yeah, K23's got that round for sure, but no. Not with Mr. Ice. Who cares about Mr. Cools, you know?
Yeah, he's a part of the cool combo.
Indeed.
But now we enter that territory once again where MOUZ, their CT side did kind of struggle. Talked a lot about the constant use of the same setups, and K23 reading into it. Now it's in the overtime. I think they would come in with new ideas. Maybe it's just like a new thing that they're experimenting with. Because that experiment did feel like a bit of a failure.
I don't think you're being too harsh if you say that. K23.
Do we see Rops go for some of these information plays that it felt like he was continuously going for on the CT side? Because it felt like almost a liability to a point because he wasn't finding impact kills and was often dead at the start of rounds. I'm liking that MOUZ are playing more contained into the site and seeing if K23 can actually get a full execute going, being this 5-on-5.
It's very similar to what K23 themselves were doing, but Bemis over here needs some help. Aiko's the one to provide it. Bemis has been given the space necessary. This is just a crucial, really cruel crossfire. You can't get past it in any way, shape, or form. XC Power, bomb in his hand, but now on the ground. MouseSports find the 17th round.
Yeah, and they just kept it clear. Didn't go for any of these aggro peaks down mid. Didn't try to go for any of these small, cutesy plays. Neat little setups. They just hold crossfires, very traditional in their approach. and K23 couldn't scale up. You know, a lot of the same issues that MOUZ had on their T side came to him actually like breaching past the main choke point on the site, and K23 get met at the same gate. Feels like we see almost like 2 different versions of each team on each half. Like at some point, like they try and go for something slightly different, which I'm all for. Try and be unpredictable. Always massively appreciated. Good nade. Over towards Banana, I believe.
Oh, there goes that Dexter.
2.
Big kills for him to find as well, but the Molotov itself does go into the smoke, so XC Power had a bit more place, a bit more room to play with. Norbert playing that Robs-esque position where he comes back in. This is so similar to what we were seeing from K23's setups. Honestly, Michael, it's like I'm seeing a mirror match.
Yeah, it's quite peculiar. Now it's A-Core that's being left in charge of B, but I don't think Dexter is really convinced, especially now with all the utility coming out. Nade's great timing, and a follow-up at reading them at the gates. They smoke down, and A-Core just going above the coffins. He spots the bomb.
They need to start rotating over soon. The information's given up as well. Dexter's spam is a bit frustrating, but not quite lethal. A-Core as well has to back off. Bomb is planted in the meanwhile. They've got plenty of time to work around with MOUZ bots. Need to chill out. Can they do so with Frozen already dead? A-Core finds nothing. Norbert takes him down, but there's the responses they need. Thought for a second they had a chance, but Dexter's 3K is what gives them the 18th, and once again they're on map point.
Counter-terrorists win.
Well, while K23 aren't shy from overtimes, you know, I'd almost hazard the guess they might pull this one into another one. But they're going to have to do so running a little dry. Exit Powers, you know, he bought the Tech 9. Someone's like, give me an AWP. I know you guys have money floating about. But it feels like they have almost expended a lot of those ideas. Maybe just, again, exhausted from playing so much Inferno earlier on. But MOUZ have come in with a new approach into this OT, and I love the aggression, just trying to hammer this one home. Rops is deep, and he hasn't done this once before. A-Core's plucked out all the meanwhile, and so now the jig is up. Rops has to keep pushing forward, and they didn't realize!
They haven't heard the footsteps. Too many comms going on internally, perhaps, and now with a shot being missed, XC Power pulls out the Tech 9. Still, they managed to bring it back to a 2-on-2. Neil and XC Power will have to look to recover. And they look to slow down as well.
Don't know how Rops gets away with that. But after all of that starting chaos, after how hectic the comms must have been, both sides, now it's a bit of a guessing game. You know, CT's vacated a lot of those crucial choke points, and so they're playing a little bit further back. If a single step is made here from K23, that'll be Bemis' cue to pounce.
Oh dear. Things really looking to be breaking down for MOUZ Sports if they're not able to bring this one back. Bemis is all alone on this A bomb site, has to wait for his teammate. You can see the hesitance. Dexter's got an incendiary, nowhere to use it. XC Power. That's going to be a very difficult place for him to be playing from. Dexter's gone. Beautiful one tap to take him down. Bemis knows where both players are, but knowledge is not power. Not in this instance. K23 get themselves to the second overtime.
Yeah, you could see things getting a little bit awkward there because Bemis didn't want to go for too much more information than what he already had. And without K23 giving away sound cues, they just get onto the site, get solid post plants. They just create this crossfire where as soon as they get the kill into Moto, it does break down the entire retake scenario there for MOUZ. And hey, we go back to another overtime. I feel like K23 are putting as many rounds in as few games as possible. Don't know if there's like a record out there somewhere. Oh, God.
Oh, indeed. Bemis is also such a big kill for them to find, Michael. Robs, though. Oh, my goodness. They're not checking it. Not this time, Robs! Bemis might be down, but the big man's still here.
Acor's in the apartments. Yeah, they know something's up. They're wondering where this AWP is positioned, and so suspecting another player there. But a man down, and once again they create this crossfire in between the site and pit.
It worked out wonderfully for them before, Norbert. Are the taps going to come through the same way this time? Flashbang down under. He's dodged it out. Norbert can just play the time, and he's traded away. Fame. 2 1v1s, isolated to some extent. Flashbang down, won't matter. Frozen peeks in.
Yeah, and he'll grab it. Really good there on the little duck peek there from Frozen. You can see the crosshair almost lined up with him, but too elusive. It's that small change where they actually go for some apartments pressure there from MOUZ, where it hadn't been fully fleshed out in previous rounds. I think the one time we saw Rups actually push that area was when he had a pistol. And now in a moment where they immediately pounce and just go for this double, triple swing on Bemis, that's where Rups is just completely unchecked. They didn't have the same traditional default there from K23. No jump into the apartments, no presence. And that's because they didn't have to deal with that in regulation.
Ooh,
God, the double
nade. On X5 as well. Might be 27 and 27, but trust me, he has been delivering.
I almost feel like MOUZ have upgraded the speed of their brainwaves.
Okay, I'm glad you said that, because I was just going to say the speed of their everything.
Because not only did they make that apartments play in the one round where K23 didn't have apartments pressure, but now the follow-up round, they go for the double nade, and I mean, K23 were like, oh, why didn't we just go for our normal default? Only to get immediately punished. God, they're just all getting so peppered, so low, so much spam.
Yeah. Oh, Acor even finds X5. That kill might not have come through if not for the early damage. Molotov straight down. How are you gonna push through that? How are you gonna push through that when you've got 20 HP a pop? 20 seconds as well, and Frozen knows what's going on. What's going on is that Norbert is shutting him down. They're on to the bomb site. Only one man to deal with. It's Dexter, but he's dropped the bomb. Found the crucial kill. Bombs dropped in towards Hobbit as well, so it'll be easier for the CTs to defend it, as T's can't quite creep past that wall fast enough. Dexter, here's the bomb being planted. There goes out the corner. He's spamming straight through. Damage dealt as well. XE Power's the one with health, but it's Rups with the kill. And it's XE Power. Not long for this world. Fighting his way out. A losing battle, and it is indeed lost Bemis. They shut him down. MOUZ Sports to find the 20th.
Yeah, really good work there. It's a team ace there from MOUZ as well. Constantly pushing for more and more position, even when K23 try to execute on B. And it's the same thing that happened to MOUZ. As soon as they try and go for a B play, there's this smoke down. The worst thing about that as well for K23 is that they couldn't just wait it out and re-execute. That wasn't a possibility. They had a bit more time than we saw MOUZ in some instances in the late round. But with no utility, they can't wait for that much longer. But how many times have we seen CT smokes with gaps in it as well? It feels like they're just throwing these so many times on the fly, and it's always come back to bite them. This happened for both teams, not just K23. They've both had these gaps in smokes. So
Yep.
It's a little curious, just so eager.
You know?
Like more dry running maybe on the cards in both of these teams' near futures.
Mm-hmm. But you know, Michael, it makes sense to me. The MOUZ's brainwaves got faster. It's because scrims are 30 rounds long. Once the 30 rounds finished, you know, scrim's over. Time to play.
Closing out with a clean sheet here on the CT side could be a great way for MOUZ to just tip it over the edge.
They really need it as well. We've seen how many times they've struggled on their T side. Dexter trying to spray, but it's Frozen. Oh, Frozen. How do you do it again and again and again, and a nade and a nade and a nade? Frozen. Finds himself
Oh
4 en route for the ace. A USP is not enough for that, but it's enough to give them 21. K23, valiant as they have been, might be running out of gas.
And all they need to do is keep MOUZ away from that. You know, they're called K23, but they'll be killed off if MOUZ get to 22. Great stuff. I mean, the CT side, I felt like there were so many issues when we were in regulation, but then we ended up in this second, or in the overtime, it felt like they had fixed some of their problems. So that adaptability certainly played a massive part, and Fame is right in their face. How uncomfortable is this? Deep smoke as well. Acorn.
What?
How on earth does he adapt enough for that?
It's a broken elbow. XC Power, meanwhile, breaks Dexter's head. Quick response, and even if it's not quite as flashy, it is significantly more effective. Acor had to lose his health in that one. Oh, Norbert. He is just going to be forced back. K23. They know they cannot make a mistake from this point onwards. They have left Nealon all the way over. There is no X5 available on this B-bomb site, but maybe that is for the best. With Fame's demise, you need a solid anchor, and who better to do it than X5? Oh, but peek outwards, and it's Acor to find another kill. Oh, that might have been through Bemis, I'm not even sure, but maybe not quite.
Yeah, they're both so low. And yeah, you talked about X5 being a reliable anchor. It has to be him to step up. It's just damage. Look how low all of these MOUZ Sports players are, but it's a 4-on-1 regardless. And Nealon, of course, he has to go for this. Kit available, may be able to salvage some utility in transition, but can he even find anything? The answer is no. Rob's already holding for the mid flank. MOUZ Sports do close things out here on K23's map pick in the series, 22-18. K23, can they just stop with these Inferno overtimes already?
I mean, I don't know if it's up to them, to be honest. They did do their best. X5 put up a monstrous performance in regulation, in particular on that B bomb site. Fame does the same towards his bomb site. But despite all their best efforts, MOUZ Sports was still just able to make their way through. Last few rounds, last round in particular, Acor had some magical moments. But man, Michael, MOUZ Sports really stepped it up on the CT side once they got to overtime.
Yeah, just these small adaptations, these small fixes. I think they definitely were experimenting with, you know, trying to make a setup work, and then it just kept not working. So I think when they found themselves in a problem spot, they came up with a solution, which only sets them up to succeed moving into their own map pick, which is Nuke, if I'm not mistaken. So that's going to be quite an interesting one as well, because do we get to see any sort of domination from these players that were so key in making this close for K23?
Well, we'll have to wait to find out, because right now it's time for a short break. When we're back, we get our questions answered in Nuke. featured, and we continue on to see whether MOUZ or K23 can actually make it through. Game 1 was a riveting inferno, which seems to be a theme for K23. Now we move on to Nuke on tea time, joined by none other than that guy over there who's kind of far away this time, a bit more than we're used to. But, hey, Michael, how's it going?
Yeah, the big old Intel Extreme Masters in between you and I, and exactly what's up for grabs between these two squads. Of course, qualification into IEM Winter, and it's quite interesting that we end up in this spot because K23, they recently made those roster moves, and it does look like they've found some success.
Oh, yeah.
It feels like the roles look pretty good, even with such an early transition period, it feels like for them. And, losing some of those more experienced veterans, it doesn't seem to have affected them too heavily. So I'm looking forward to Nuke in that, even though K23 didn't look that great against Spirit for it, this is a strong map for MOUZ, and I really want to see that strength come to fruition here for them, because it was a very trying time on that Inferno, which may be just a testament to how much development K23 has gone through themselves.
Like, realistically, this should be a bit more of a one-sided affair. We're setting this up so that if it's not, then oh my god, K23 just improved it to best of 3 by a whole lot. But that's entirely possible with the kind of performances the individuals were having. Bemis is moving in, Fame's good for one, but Bemis and Frozen, the entry duo, well, call it the entry trio because Bemis is the one getting 3 kills.
Oh, Norbert's found a good timing here on the flank. They just pick it up, just consider it a little late, and I think they even had the idea that he maybe could have got himself into hut on this timing. I don't think Rops fully cleared out that spot. It's all about when he decides to pull the trigger on this. MOUZ a little hesitant to get that plant down, and now that he hears those digits being dialed in, Norbert sneaks on up, and they're holding for it. Front to front, making sure that they had each other's backs covered effectively. MOUZ do convert, and it's all virtue that fast pace play. Bemis getting all of those entry kills. Sure, he loses teammates along the way, but so long as he's trading things efficiently, MOUZ are happy.
I mean, if they keep getting entry kills like that, I'm pretty sure they'll be happy, Michael. Bemis and Frozen both had themselves a very good first series as well, in particular. I'm looking over towards Dust 2, where they both performed out of their minds. MOUZ Sports, I will say, Rops had a significantly better performance in Inferno earlier on, so if you can see that translate through to Nuke as well. He had his strugglings in Inferno early on, but he did manage to pick up steam.
Oh, Dexter, very, very cheeky about this one.
Yeah.
Dealt with the first player, even when they moved to recover the scout, got into such an advanced position. Don't think he spotted out the shoulder. We could see it, but might be a 4x3 experience. Pulled to order, and Frozen, make sure that things don't get out of hand. Him alongside Rops just clean up the rest. And K23 do make it, I mean, they go for that investment. They don't get anything from it. It happens. You either pull it close, or sometimes you just lose out. And that's kind of what we expect to see here from the MOUZ Sports T side. Dexter very often will go on some of these solo exploration missions.
Yep.
We see a lot of in-game leaders actually go for that outside control. Are they the most expendable? Only by virtue of their own calling, really.
It is what makes me useful. That makes me killable.
Either that or bursting through hut first,
Yeah, true.
so that
That
everyone
too.
else can succeed.
Of course, for K23, we've got a point where Frozen is just ready for the push out from Mini. He will be able to find 3, switches out to the USB, wants to continue dueling on. Norbert on the sideline, though, is going to find the space that X5 needed to give his teammate the alley-oop. Of course, despite the kills coming through under X5's name, it's really just money and nothing much else with it. I do quite like his 5/7 skin.
It's quite nice. Mm-hmm. Nice shade of white. I always feel like I omit skins from my brain so often. I've got so used to seeing the colors in that bottom right.
Yeah.
Like I recognize the weapon, and I don't appreciate the skins anymore. It's not, I don't know, not grabbing my eye the same way that it used to tantalize. But a pretty solid start overall here from MOUZ. Skins or not, they're going to have to invest into some better weapons. Maybe they don't have as flashy a portfolio. And I do want to put that pressure on Exit Power. I think he was always touted as the star. Sure, it was the AWPs were very frequently given to him, so he always had this like an inflated AWP statistic.
Yeah.
But he missed a lot of sitter shots that put them in some troublesome positions in late round moments. You know, they could have had advantages, but they were very infrequently capitalized on. This is the start you like to see. Exit Power has gotten the first, but there's Acor's AWP that also dons the server.
X5. Oh, this could be so dangerous. He's turned away. The smoke was giving him a bit of a one-way, but now he'll be unable to find that AWP. Acor can stay relatively uninterrupted. Well, X5 is just watching out for a player to come in through from Garage. He's aware of the likelihood of that happening. XC Power is repositioning, and Dexter could be walking into his crosshair very shortly. He's missed a few of these close range shots over in Inferno as well, and with this many players coming in from behind him, it'll be difficult. He does get down the bomb though, so at least information's gained. Re-peeking backwards as well, but now caught in between two, and he had to find his way out, just can't get it done.
Down some room here for the relocate, but Dexter just so aware. Jumped up the box and made sure that those rafters could not be traversed. Could be a timing here for X5 moving in from Secret. They do jump spot into it, so Dexter left exposed. They do have Acor in these vents and up close. X5 understands that that's likely being held here for MOUZ and wants to take the fight right to him. Acor missing the first shot, but finding the second. Scoped in right into his soul. But 4-0 here on the start, here on the jump, here for MOUZ. And they got themselves down towards those secret steps, down to through those vents so early as well that they always had this secondary avenue of attack towards the lower site. Exactly what you want to see here from the T-side start from MOUZ. Again, kind of tailoring this up as should be a good showing from this squad.
Yeah.
Probably one of their most successful maps in the rotation.
Actually, I was going. I just checked up his numbers as well, Michael, over in the Spirit map where they had a decent enough CT start. They were 8 and 7, not the best, but not the worst either. He had, unfortunately, only had 8 kills in the first half and 7 deaths. So, positive, but it just goes to show you not really going for as many duels as what I would imagine. It wasn't said Neelan and X5 mostly doing a lot of the work. No, but not too far behind either. Neelan for now, though, is gone. X5 is showing up the same way, if not better. These 5-7s have made it competitive. X5 is finally traded, but Norbert can bring it back to a 1-on-2. Robs, that Molotov can at least force out a player, but Fame has gotten away to safety and picked up an AK while he's at it. Frozen is aware of the possibility of a player on top, but Norbert can shut him out. First round found with the back of a pistol.
Yeah, had an SMG floating around there as well for K23, so it's like this half investment that seems to have borne some fruit. And it looked like MOUZ again got into these spots where K23 were none the wiser. Rops lurking into A and shooting players rotating away from the hut. It's not as though MOUZ didn't have those opportunities, but those pistols just deal too much damage, wreak too much havoc, and by the time they're actually on the site, K23 swarm it. See a much more concerted effort here from MOUZ to get themselves outside. Already a sneak down the vents, and X5 just turned the wrong direction by the time he realizes Rops has the drop. So they are this man down. This B site is likely to see siege.
Norbert. Oh, doors opens right into him. Norbert is found and brought down. He was caught in transition. A moment of hesitance as well, not really helping him out there. K23 might need to save, and they know it. MOUZ off for a really good start already, Michael. 5-1, where K23, you saw in that Spirit game as well, where they struggled was not the CT side.
And well, now they are struggling on the CT side.
Oh. Wow.
So, yeah, the picture you're painting is This could be dire if things don't correct themselves here for K23 quick. It just feels like MOUZ are getting away with so many of these win conditions. You know, Rops, you know, he's devastating on some of these lurk plays. Not to mention that they are threatening lower site control continuously by having these players dive down the vents faster than K23 can actually rotate a player in. And who's going to step up? Who's going to find these opening battles of initiative, go for these early peaks? Who can take the fight to any of these MOUZ Sports players one-to-one? Because when it came to actually breaking into bomb sites on Inferno, MOUZ really struggled. But that was by virtue of kind of navigating through choke points. If they are the ones that need to get this information quick, then MOUZ could very well just continually find these openers.
X5 is so aggressive early on, and I don't know if he's been completely realized. It seemed like with the timing, his footsteps should have been heard, but there's a lot of chaos going on, a lot of smokes blooming, a lot of flashes going out, and X5, you know, players already cheated past him into secret. The trouble that could arise is actually for Acor. Rob's already having gone down to 5-on-3 to start things off would be fantastic, but Acor's just not peeking out. X5 is so aware that he no longer has the option of really backing up. Acor peeks into him. He did have a chance, but not one. And he's able to utilize.
Yeah, just patience all the way through that play there for X5. And there's that 5-on-3 that you were highlighting. Bomb still can be recovered. Was in a safe position. Problem is that Frozen's got a little bit of control towards lower, but not too many ways that he can attack this one without making noise, without giving away these sound cues here to K23. And it's difficult for his teammates to rendezvous.
Oh no, but secondary up ahead is going to be completely unexpected. Should be a freebie for him, and he waits out for the second peek through as well. Not baited out, and even re-peeks from Bimus. Frozen, like you said before, Michael, could be a problem down in lower, but now he is a problem down in lower. That can be ignored. Which really, isn't that what all CTs want? To be able to ignore their problems.
You have the lower site, but you do need the bomb. Or teammates.
Or time.
Yeah, none of these things are, in fact, in Frozen's possession. While cryogenics are a technology that everyone's kind of fascinated with, at least I know I am. Trying to live forever.
Do you think it'll work eventually?
Probably not.
Yeah, that's me too.
I think there is that possibility, but it's just like, what kind of serious nerve damage we talking here?
Like, I feel like we're going to be faster to the point where we can stop aging compared to when cryogenics is relevant.
So you're saying I don't have a chance to live forever? Not in my
You do,
lifetime.
but like aging will stop earlier than that.
Anyone's got the secret, send me a message. Oh, God.
Yeah.
Aggro through the outside smokes. Don't think that they were quite ready for that. Exit Power hasn't shown too many of these aggressive lines so far here on the CT side. Got one earlier on in this half, and now this is another great time to pull that to action. They're starting to break down that money here for MOUZ. So back-to-back rounds could really rock them.
And especially if you keep getting these early advantages, XC Power this time delivering the goods that he really needed to. Fame getting into a closer position, the flashbang coming in. It looks like it should be a full A-side execute pop in, but they're not committing. MOUZ Sports is really hoping that maybe some rotations come out, but instead they're all just coming through to reinforce Fame.
Oh.
Gotta be careful, but Beamus has been brought down, the bomb with it. Molotov down underneath him, and sure, Robs can get the kill, but it's X5 who's been given the space that's necessary to actually push through. Acor knows that he needs to contend to get the bomb, and it's a kill with a shot to the side of the head. Whoa, oh.
Legs broken.
Sorry,
Or we're going to be
Norbert.
limping for the rest of the round, and it's all about timing here for Nealand. Steps will be made. They know that this bomb has been recovered, and whether or not you can get up these vents is a whole other question. Can Norbert actually delay, distract for long enough? He's firing off these shots to try and detract from this Nealand aggression, but they're peeking in within the site, and Norbert quickscope Nealand as well will get the kill he needs to. K23 pull it together in that 2-on-2. MOUZ didn't have anywhere to go. They were completely contained.
Just getting closer and closer to getting that win out from MOUZ Sports. Sure, they get out the trade. Sure, they get out everything. But that flashbang play for the man up in Evans was perfect. MOUZ Sports just don't know how to respond to it. They both swing out onto different angles. And, you know, for MOUZ Sports, they're thinking, okay, I'm actually going to swing down straight towards Vent so you can watch out Heaven. But that's just two isolated 1v1s. And with the flashbang advantage, they're able to win that out regardless.
And now they only need one more in a row here on K23 to break the money of MOUZ. Put them in this spot where they can look to recover the CT side. See, they're being extra careful now. X5, of course, pushed close in a round prior. They've pushed through this smoke as well. So they're conditioning MOUZ to at least check all of these positions, spend a little bit more time outside, but it won't deny Acor to make the cross safely.
As XC Power trails backwards, it's very much going to be all about whether or not he can find another kill early on. With this little utility, the AWP becomes all the more powerful inside Garage. Acor as well.
Really going to try and jump up these vents.
I mean, it's really just not one of those places where you want your AWP to have being inside vents, whatever. I'm not going to say dive. Frozen, however, goes down. That looked like it should have been a kill for him, a sitter for him. But X5 has continually found the better, though Acor has found the better.
Crouching Tiger, leaping AWPer. This man's in the vents already? How'd he get there? 3-on-3, Robson, Norbert find a kill apiece. And now they can move back towards this A bomb site. I think K23 are pretty privy to that fact, though. Not over-rotating as of yet. Nealon's jumped into the site.
And they've heard him drop down. They must have. But Dexter, he could be the X factor that's unnecessary. Although XC Power's death being for free like that definitely does help. Grenade straight outwards. It's going to be Norbert to even up the score somewhat. Beamers does at least spot him out. Norbert really hoping that he goes for it again. A missed shot and Beamers. The swing is rewarded, the AWP is recovered, and MOUZ Sports with the 6th. But man, that got so close despite all the great positioning coming through from Dexter and Acor.
Yeah, and that advantageous position as well where, you know, MOUZ have this man-up situation. They know that they have the flank on Heaven. All it takes is for these MOUZ players to wait that extra second longer to allow him that kill. Could have been a much cleaner state of affairs, but it was just continuous trades. That means that MOUZ's money ain't looking too pretty still. You know, running a little light on the utility. Expending all of these smokes once again towards outside at the start of this round. This time not the leaning wall. One that allows them easier access to Garage. Throwing off these pop shots, I imagine they'll try and flank him out soon enough. Exit Power does have his back covered though.
God,
does he? Doesn't seem to be looking at it.
They've got no idea. Frozen's going to be such a pain in their side, quite literally in the side of their head. XC Power isn't watching. He knows it. Frozen swung. 2 big kills found here and now. Nealon. He's not had the cleanest of games so far, and apparently neither have the rest of his team. MOUZ Sports already looking to secure 7, and with Fame's demise, it is basically guaranteed. Nealon all alone, good for 1, but that's only a pistol he's taken out as well. Can't adjust for Robson time, 7-3. Man, MOUZ Sports are dominating considering the fact that K23 now don't have money either.
Yeah, that was one of those swing rounds where K23 wanted to get these clean state of affairs on the CT side, but it just never came through. And then when they lose that 1v1, left them very susceptible to that broken state of funds. And we've seen MOUZ really set their sights on outside these fast 3 rounds. And the worrisome thing is for K23 is that even when there is the possibility of them having broken into the B bomb site, they actually haven't really been rotating quick. They haven't kept somebody there to honor that fact.
Now, Michael, since we are, of course, on a bit of an anti-Acor run, although they lost one of these before, in all fairness, short update for the viewers as well. I just went over to check. Of course, I'm about to give a spoiler for the other matches for the Intel Extreme Masters Winter Qualifier. So if you don't want to listen to that, just mute us for about 10 seconds. Okay. Fnatic actually beat out FPX as well, 2-0. It was a much closer scoreline than what they had earlier on. But once again, Smooya coming out with a 141 rating, and I'm gonna go out and say FPX, I do rate them fairly highly. I do think they belong in at least top 20 in the world ranking. So that's pretty good stuff.
Yeah. They go through their own difficulties, FPX.
Yeah.
But considering it's a new acquisition, I think Fnatic are going to be very happy with that.
Of course, that is not entirely irrelevant to this one either, because FPX is actually going to be playing up against the winner. Rather, up against the loser.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's a loser and then a winner. You know, point is, one of these two teams could be playing up against FPX later on. That's what we're getting at. But what in the world? We're getting at more pistol kills as well. We're back to a 3v3. An advantage has been found and AWP recovered as well. Nealon at least will lose the AWP, but man, Fame and X5 are scary fellas with these P250s and 5.7s, and now comes out that flank from behind. X5's got one back to the one-on-one and 10 seconds. Robs is trying to get the kill. X5 trying to navigate around. Bomb can be planted, but it needs to be stuck. He doesn't know how close Robs is. Otherwise, this could have gone the other way. X5 spotted out, jumping forward, trying to get the advantage of mobility, but Robs will just barely string that round back in their favor.
Oh man, these anti-ecos here for MOUZ are looking worse than their gun rounds, in all honesty. They played the round out slowly. You know, I think the same thing that kind of happened on Inferno is that they were, you know, going with that slower pace just to make sure they didn't fall into anything. But then when they actually want to collapse on a bomb site, they're still kind of falling into a bit of a trap. You know, they had the high ground covered. It's some great shots from K23 on these pistols, no doubt. But I'm sure MOUZ would be questioning why they're always in these situations, whether it always comes to these 1vx's or close affairs. Now that AWPs are out, K23 have found a pick. Gap in the smoke is enough. I haven't seen Exit Power go for any more of these hyper aggro plays, but still able to get some sort of result from it. Nealon spammed Rops, only for him to just swing out and say, "Stop that!"
Like, Dad, go away! And he knocks him out. That's
pretty
also
toxic relationship.
I mean, maybe they're just strangers, in all fairness. Yeah. Massports does get a bit of a ray of hope with that kill, though. Not maybe the brightest of rays, with Rops also being low, but, you know, 3v4 much more manageable. Time's ticking down low. Trigger needs to be pulled, and soon. Smoke straight outwards. They'll need to peek in, breaking out the glass as well. Bemis trying to find anything. Should be a bomb plant at the very least, as they're trying to work around that smoke, but they are delaying it, and that delay comes with a lot of CT rotations.
Well, I just can't believe how free this is. And Fame has a flank as well, so Robs can get nothing for his efforts. Acor peeks up and spots 3 of them. Oh no! How is Acor getting away with this? They can't find the trade! Finally! It's Exit Power's AWP that strikes back, but now Bemis in the clutch.
He's got the chance, and with the double flashes, he's not planning on using either one of those to try and bring this out. Knows where Fame is coming in from. He does get the first. Can't quite swing in time, but XC Power misses out on the rifle. Now advantage all the way over to Beam as he's circled around, but XC Power gets the kill. He's got a kit as well, making his way over towards the bomb. It's right in the corner, nick of time. He'll get it done. XC Power brings out the 1v1.
Oh, wow. I really can't believe that Acor is able to whittle down the numbers enough to make that possible. And as soon as Bemis ends up in that 1v1, it's all to play for. Exit Power he made that snap decision as well. You know, he didn't feel comfortable rotating in with that AWP for the retake, and it pays off in dividends. MOUZ, once again, on the precipice of breaking down that money. Be a faster play. Tex and Mac 10's flashes are great.
Nealon is even better overhead with those flashes. I mean, Michael, unfortunately,
they were so good they blinded themselves. In fact, yeah. saw those assists come up. It's like, good flash, Dexter.
Yeah, great job, man. You've got 4. Wow, Dex, that's high efficiency flash.
Yeah, that's a small bit of execution misstep there for MOUZ on a speedy play. Turn from the flash. Didn't turn in time.
Well, MOUZ are now having their own economy reset, so maybe we get to see a magical pistol round from them. Bit more unlikely on the T side with Glocks, but hey.
Glocks.
Okay, Dex is dead.
Well, Norbert either farms up 4 or gets overwhelmed by these Glocks, and they're gonna line up for him on these bursts. Jumping round, Norbert's quick on the adaptation, but finally Acor puts him to rest. Orb did rotate in and actually trying to hunt him down. Exit power. Okay, ran out of bullets there on the FAMAS, so even with the quick little headshot, Exit power just runs him down. Fame actually stole that one away. But this looks like a recovery here from K23. They're looking a little bit more composed. Still, there's this susceptibility to leave the B bomb site open. But MOUZ, even when they've had control of the lower site, actually haven't been able to make quick use of it. Again, I don't think they quite believe their eyes when they realize that that B site is as vacant as it usually is. Look at the options here for MOUZ. Few smokes. Singular Molotov. Well, they've only got one to really get anything done. Outside smokes, they feel like a necessity. And this time they do have somebody here on K23 towards this lower site. Norbert's in position to meet them if they round that corner. Fame's actually just spam drops through the door. Great opener here for K23. One that didn't even feel like a fair fight.
I mean, the amount of times we've seen MOUZ actually losing out the initial duel is pretty high at this point. A lot of 5v4s for K23 so far, maybe not always capitalized upon, and right now might be one of those times because Frozen just moved through. Norbert's down and out. What's going on over here? Neil and... Oh, no! Acor! Come on, buddy. The 2v4 was almost a 2v3 right there, but can't really blame him too much. A player walking in front of him. One of those unfortunate circumstances. Acor going for the bomb plant. We've seen a big moment from him before, but that wasn't enough to give them the round. Maybe this time he can make up for it. 9th on the line. You can win this one out. It is a different game altogether that you are playing, and right now Acor is playing a different game for sure because he is aware of what's going on in every point. The map, unfortunately, awareness does not mean you're going to live.
Yeah, doors wide open, so quick trade there from X5. So it's a 7-8 half here from K23 CT side. Good half overall from MOUZ on the offensive. Let's see if they can round things out, whether K23 get things together their own offensive.
Songs in a helpful hand, broken bones in a bloodstained flag.
Nice. And we're back into things. It's MOUZ Sports, who did kind of struggle with losing at the first play early on. But maybe now on the CT side, they can have a better showing. K23, 7 rounds only on their first half. Not quite sure how that lends itself to the second as we head into it. I'm T-Time, joined by none other than Michael Yumi Cassidy.
No kits here for MOUZ, so let's not end up in retake scenarios. I think that's the answer to all their questions. No utility either from K23, so there's run at them. Rops is down. Acor trying to make up for lost space, but instead it's just another death added to the tally.
You don't need to go for retake scenarios if you're dead, Michael. I feel like that might be the plan over here for K23. They are a train, and MOUZ Sports are caught in between the railroad. Norbert right now still getting out another tag as well. In the meanwhile, finally, Dex is able to come through with 1, makes it 2. Good on the pistol so far. X5, though, with the Glock is trying to push through. The door's just being closed in on him. Dexter, you're all alone. Come on. Embrace your death. Accept your death. Maybe not welcome it, but at least come to terms with it.
I love that we get the perspective of those players from MOUZ that are, like, at the door. You know, they're thinking maybe it could be event dive or something of the sort, and then they look at the heavens, and it's just a swarm of K23 players collapsing on the bomb site. It's like something else, like an advanced zombie movie, if they could use guns. Or a zombie mode. I think that there's a custom mode like it.
NCS.
Of course, all of this in anticipation for an IEM Winter slot. You know, MOUZ trying to look good before the major. Increase their stock, give some people some confidence as well by making it through these qualifications.
Walks right down with the MAC-10. Sure, he's traded out, but he's good with the kill. Now, the problem is that you've got yourself that very janky PP Bison, and that janky PP Bison is a cranky one as well. He's been knocked on the side of his head a little bit too damn hard. Norbert and X5, now it's all up to them. At the very least, these rifles can't be recovered, or at least the rifle cannot be recovered. It's inside garage, and X5 will find frozen.
He's looked so legit.
He has. He's
so
really
clean.
good.
But he needs to actually show it off now in a clutch scenario. Lost his teammate. And
Khalil recovered.
Did keep them away from one rifle, but yeah, the other one can be attained. He does have the bomb, so he can go a number of different routes here, and that's the unpredictability that MOUZ are going to have to account for.
Oh.
Thought about it for a second. Like, do I take the ladder?
I mean, right now, in 30 seconds, he'll have to make a move very soon. MOUZ Sports are... I mean, as long as they play it together, this is where you should theoretically have the advantage. But on Nuke, there's so many spaces where you can just be caught in a choke point. Question is, when is that player inside fence just going to rotate over when he hears the bomb being planted? Oh, this is so good. He might even be able to stop the bomb from being planted, but it's inside and he's got the pistol, so not quite the best of weapons to stop that. Rops now has to be careful because he can't give up this 1v1 for free. They're trying to converge onto the bomb site together, playing from around the smoke is X5. They don't have time on the CT side to wait around too much, and with this, they'll manage to bring out what K23 did as well. So each team getting 1 pistol round apiece.
Yeah, and making sure to delay the defuse so they can get their hands on another rifle. It is indeed an AK. Bemis kind of looked at it, it's like, is that a Galil? Is it an upgrade? But they had some issues on their own CT side, or in sort of that first half, rather, on their T side in terms of dealing with these anti-ecos. So yeah, it feels almost like the universe has aligned to enable them one themselves. I'm not a big fan of the PP Bison. I won't shy away from that. But one of the points I was trying to lead into, and a tactical timeout is a great time for this. You've pointed out to me, you hooked me up with this, but the matchup that they're going to have in the first round of the major has been revealed, and it's against Sharks, which, to be quite honest, is a pretty good first round matchup for MOUZ.
100%.
Sharks, a team that filled with a lot of like inexperienced players.
Yeah.
Are they going to be able to adapt to the European side of things? They had a small stint in Europe. You know, I think they
came over
navigated
for a while.
a bit of a different veto.
Hmm.
And will they have things prepared? Are they looking intently at this game now that that's been released? It's like MOUZ. Yeah, they're seeming. It's not flawless stuff.
For still more than a couple of days for that, so MOUZ could very much change out a lot of the playbook as well. Right now under Bemis is getting ready for the peek through. Bemis just can't stop it though. This is the full overwhelm. Rob's the only one to get a kill so far. Even the Molotov will force him off. And now this bomb is basically guaranteed to be planted if Frozen doesn't get a swift kill through the smoke, and that is just denied. MP9 gives him a free one. Frozen trying to jump about. X5 tagged up. 5-7's going to do a lot, but it's XC Power's Tech 9 that is a real threat at this stage. They just don't have the time for even going for the defuse, but XC Power, this is such good timing.
Peekaboo.
He knows where Robs was. He's coming in from behind, but he's missed his shot. Robs might have just done it, and Frozen can get the defuse. The spray's not on point. MOUZ Sports, they win the round. XC Power, come on, buddy. You can't be doing that.
Not like this. Had the flank, had the timing for it. Robs wasn't ready. Oh, God. That has slipped through their fingertips. I thought K23 were going to pull it off again. You know, you get E-code, you get sort of force sport. These pistols do so much damage, and you almost find that same level of success just by going quick, overwhelming them. And then that flank just crumbles.
Oh, way cool. I mean, that is also just such a crucial round as well for them to be losing out. MOUZ Sports could have had all their momentum taken away from them. Instead, they get out with the same 2 AKs as well. So now you've got a better buy on them too. Sure, it's not bad on the terrorist side. I'm not going to say that. No one would be that absurd. But, man, Robs has now been forced off. None of his information given up. So they have to be careful about a player being down underneath and lower. But with as many players as they've got, maybe it won't matter. Frozen's already got the first, though.
Dexter found 2 in the
God.
meantime. Norbert didn't get there in time to fully sandwich this player in. And with those double doors fully exposed, getting into the site ain't an easy task. Bomb is dropped on the site.
And that's just the end. That's just the end. MOUZ Sports get 11. K23 have their money knocked down and finished off. 12-8 on the horizon. Let's not forget K23, even if they're on 3K a pop, with their loss bonus on being on 3,500, you're not going to be wanting to invest into the full Deagle plus Kevlar if you don't want to miss out on some grenades in the next one. So MOUZ Sports have a real chance, a real attempt at solidifying their money to a large extent.
Oh, here we go with these pistols again. Dropping quick mini. Frozen was spotted, and Fame just claps him in the face. Socks him. Might not have been an advisable step, considering how deadly these pistols have been. You're trying to push into them while they're pushing into you.
Yeah.
Sweet Caroline.
I will not lie to you, Michael. I do not know that reference.
Yeah, it's like, it's a weird football chant. Try to make it like a touching them, touching you thing. It's
Okay.
It's a whole can of worms. I don't know why I brought it up.
Well, you know, we can pop it open later on and have a snack. But Acor right now, he's at everyone going down. Robs wants to have a snack over here on the lower bomb site. Smoke off to try and prevent them from actually making their way through to the double squeaky. Robs, though, as he moves past, is going to be braving a lot of pistol fire. Will get himself the first, but it's Dexter who evens things up. Bemis trying to stick out the defuse. MOUZ Sports going for it. Fame is down, and once again, the defuse looked like it was going to come through, but they stalled just long enough to quickly finish off everyone. Robs with a 3K, and MOUZ with a 12.
Feel like you're swiping away sweat every time there's pistols involved. Gets into these really dangerous spots. You know, they go down a man. That B bomb site is just getting swarmed. It's not exactly comfortable, which is where MOUZ want to be. You know, a bit of stability on the CT side would be nice. And now that K23 are on these rifles, I feel like, you know, we're back into good representation. Smokes outside once again, and they ain't waiting around here on the defensive. A-Core does have the ult close red. First kill's easy. Second as well. The follow-up. That's the bomb dropped. Frozen is alongside him. This outside control hasn't worked out at all for K23. They just get completely brutalized. I mean, what do you do? Norbert, it's been 30 seconds into the round, and he's all alone.
This is also one of the first times that MOUZ Sports have not lost out a player in some sort of frivolous circumstances early in, and, well, it's a good look for them. Put it that way.
Well, back to the pistols, boys.
Yeah. Had better luck on them anyway.
Yeah, why even buy the rifle?
Yeah, I mean, look, if pistols are your full buy, you'll always have a full buy.
That is true. Can't fault that logic.
Exactly. It's just maths. But you know what else is maths, Michael? 13 is greater than 8.
That is factually correct as well.
Michael, do you know how I remembered the greater than and lesser than brackets when I was younger?
No.
Basically, I thought that it's a crocodile's mouth.
Okay.
And if I was a crocodile, I'd eat the bigger one. So where the mouth is open is where it's bigger.
I see. So, like, the angular part of the greater than and lesser than symbols is you.
Yeah, and I'm eating the bigger meal because I'm a big crocodile.
Yeah, okay. That was also how it was explained to me, I think, when I was a kid.
Okay.
I don't know if that was just them trying to be like, hey, animals are fun, right? Let's make math fun.
Yeah, scare me with a bloody crocodile.
I mean, I don't think kids are that intimidated.
That's not it. You haven't
Kids
seen
fearless.
a crocodile in real life.
Like
Michael.
I've seen wildlife documentaries. Those crocodiles don't seem too crazy. Just don't
Hippos are
encounter
terrifying,
one in
though,
the
in all
wilderness.
fairness.
I feel like you learn real quick.
Hippos seem very scary.
They don't seem very scary. They're always
are.
depicted as like cute and cuddly in cartoons, but they vicious.
Indeed they are. Just like Frozen. Can be cute, can be cuddly, but really, it can be deadly as well. Norbert, in the meanwhile, though, has just moved through. A-Core had put his AWP away right at that moment, and with that, his demise comes in early. Once again, K23 continued their scheme of finding opening kills. Norbert! Okay. All right. All right.
Yeah, a quick little 90-degree spin. No problem. Hey, there's a free smoke as well. Yoink. Rops does still have some outside control here with this AWP, but Norbert, it's all about whether or not he creeps his way over, maintains a real closely hugged position to that wall, because the rest of the squad, they're making their way down ramp, so it's only a matter of time before a collapse on a site is coming. Actually, no, never mind, they're not going ramp. Oh, God.
He doesn't realize it, the timing. What XC power did he not clear that?
They didn't spot him.
Oh my God. It looked like the timing was going to work out in the favor of K23. Norbert, he's creeping past. Rops is aware of this possibility, but with XC power already having gone down, Rops is going to peek in
Oh
for the
God,
side.
what?
Rops has got another one.
How on earth?
There's only so much dust to bite, guys.
I feel like K23 need a timeout.
I feel like K23 need a B timed out.
They find themselves in this 5-on-3, and they make their way up towards the heavens. I mean, it's not like they knew where Rops was, so that's always the big question mark. Maybe they think they can get this flank going over towards heaven, and that's all well and good, but then they funnel in one by one at these timings that just don't work out. I mean, Rops just stood his ground the entire time, and he almost got timing, but then he found some great ones in response.
Michael's waiting for the peak to come in over here. Stops out right at that moment. Now that the knowledge of smokes has been given over. MOUZ Sports. Very content to play this slower pace. Not fall into the traps of K23. Bemis is giving out information to his team as well off the back of the sound cues he's been given over. Rotations could be called through, but the bombs are outside. And that's what Frozen is a little bit worried about.
I think Dexter found himself in this spot a few times here on MOUZ, and quite often K23 or MOUZ on their T side just couldn't get anything accomplished, even with some control over those lower steps. So we'll see if K23 can somehow navigate it. Outside isn't really being held for, and when Frozen peeked out, Fame does find the shot. So now this lower site can be properly threatened.
Time's ticking down, but there's the reinforcement that's coming through. Akor's making his way back over. Rops is ready for this. He should find the first, and Akor's there to support as well. Closes out the door, opens it in his own favor. Norbert's the last one on the upper bomb site, but Fame's the one doing the heavy lifting down low. Time's running out. It's a 2-on-2. There's nowhere to go, nothing to do. Fame needs to swing out, and it's Akor to find the first. Peeks up for 2. MOUZ Sports. It might be 4v5, but they'll get it done anyway.
Man, it feels like the K23 are almost getting into some of these great positions, but MOUZ are just showing that individual class as well. Being able to confidently take out some of these repeaks. Sure, there's a risk associated with that, but K23 just haven't been able to get loads of these trades. And it's another round where an ult just finds so much success. 3K from Akor in that round. Could be an opportunity, and Norbert opens the door. Akor greets him.
Oh, Frozen as well. Long range holding on. Bemis taking down X5, who's been such a big man for them so far, but now's the time when big men fall. Now's the time when tiny little mice can come through and swarm you over. Neelan next to fall. MOUZ Sports looking to make their last one a clean affair. Comes down to this. Fame alone, a 1-on-5. No time, rather, no allies. No time before he gets flanked. And no real space for him to go other than back into the lobby, where they are once again lying in wait for him. Fame has been spotted. Fame's been peeked into. Sure, he can get a kill, but he is so hyper aware.
He'd certainly gain some fame if he won this.
Indeed, he could. Akor. Oh, watching out for it, and Akor can close it out. MOUZ Sports will get it in style. Inferno is shaky territory. Nuke is not quite what the scoreline may suggest, but it is still a victory nonetheless. They are going to be our second team to successfully qualify for the Intel Extreme Masters Winter 2021.
Yeah, I mean, overall, it felt like MOUZ really picked up the slack after that first map, where it was a bit more trying. We were a little bit more uncertain about how this MOUZ was going to look, especially, you know, because we are just constantly projecting how these teams are going to perform at the major. And to secure a spot in a tournament that follows afterwards is always a great little sigh of relief. They didn't actually get to the major by their own sheer will. You know, they kind of struggled in the last RMR, and so being able to set the right foot forward, especially with this new brand in from MOUZ, they're trying to, you know, cement that into people's minds. This is going to be the first time that we see them under this new logo, same MOUZ, the ones that we know can be successful. They need to hit a peak, and that CT side was exactly what you wanted to see from some of the individuals on this squad. So IEM Winter in the back pocket.
Well, definitely a couple of mistakes here and there, but you're right. Individually, they were stepping up. Rob's quiet start of the day, loud finish. But right now, K23 are not eliminated either from contention for IEM Winter. They are now going to be going down to the lower bracket, where they will be facing off versus potentially 2 matchups, potentially 1, depends on when they're eliminated. But it will, of course, be ENCE that they're going up against, and then they'll have 1 more match to see whether they can qualify or not. They're still in the running, so make sure you guys check them out tomorrow as well. Of course, for now, though, we have got to be running, and we've got to be running off. We'll catch you guys tomorrow for further IEM qualifying action. See you guys soon. More fantastic Counter-Strike to come your way.
We were caught in the fire. Our making them wish they were you. We've heard the most when it comes to this. Yeah, every shade of blue, but don't even care what they all say. They think we're out of control. Yeah, truth be told, we know it. It's just the way we live. We own it. 'Cause stop, we love the thrill. We know it. It's just the way we live. We're grown-up kids. Just the way we live.
Yeah, they done told me to be myself. So when I went and found myself, the ones who told me back then, be true to who I am, ain't think we was really gonna win. Now they watching us from the sidelines while we trying to victories like we getting high tides. I'm getting my prize, only thing my eyes is locked in on. Half a milli, mine. I want it right now, don't waste my time. Family in a penthouse with a view sky high. Blood, sweat, and tears bring water to my eyes. 'Cause the whole gang winning, I done gave my life. Odds low, but we did it, ain't we? And we always moving, never on the same thing. Now our lives are highlight reel. We like the thrill. This life's ideal. The hype is real.
We know it. It's just the way we live. We own it. 'Cause stop, we love the thrill. We know it. It's just the way we live. We're grown-up kids. We know it. It's just the way we live. We own it. 'Cause stop, we love the thrill. We know it. It's just the way we live. We're grown-up kids. We're grown-up kids. In the dark, stone cold, sinking deeper. We are here. We keep holding on, dusk till dawn. Forever.
away from the hot sun. Always night, it's never day.